After a walk-off yesterday at Eldridge, the Firebirds are back looking to finish the job here in Harwich on the Birds Broadcast Network. You know who it is, Dylan Pescatore and Ian Nicholas will bring in our third member, Sammy Miller, in just a little bit. But a big 2-1 win, a rally, come-from-behind win for the Firebirds yesterday, down 1-0 going into the ninth inning. The Birds found a way to not only tie the game, but to win it on a walk-off single by Jack Penny. Ian, take us through that ninth inning. What an inning that was.
It was an unbelievable inning. And Orleans down 1-0 going into the bottom of the ninth. All started with a 4-pitch leadoff walk for Eddie King to set the tone, and then one heck of an at-bat from Brandon Stallman. He was previously on an 0-for-12 skid, battles with Sean Hard for 9 pitches. He reaches with a bloop single to left, and then something that will go unnoticed, Owen Carpellotti pinch hits for Henry Hunter. The catcher lays down a perfect bunt, gets on with a hit, loads the bases, nobody out. Then Steve Englert goes to the bullpen, and the bullpen comes up big. Back-to-back strikeouts of a bottom man in the order, Colin Tuft, and one of the most dangerous men in the order in Joe Oyama. 2 outs, bases loaded, then Orleans gets to work again. Justin Rubin with an infield single to shortstop. That ties the game. Eddie King scores, and then the next man up, the all-star, Mr. Clutch, Jack Penny, ropes one to right for the game-winning hit. Brandon Stallman scores. Orleans with some 2-out magic to give itself the 1-0 series lead.
They take the 1-0 series lead. Going into today, they can win. They can move on to the second round, the East Division Finals. How can they do it? They have to do it on the back of today's starting pitcher, Ivan Romero, and Sammy has more.
Thanks, Dylan. Ivan Romero knows a little something about Cape Cod League playoffs coming off of last summer when he made a postseason run with the YD Red Sox and is looking to use that experience tonight as he starts things off for the Birds on the mound. I spoke to him before the game, and he expressed how excited he is to be able to compete today and clinch a spot in the second round for his team. He added how the playoffs always bring an extra added source of adrenaline, but went on to say he wouldn't have it any other way. Your season is now on the line every time you step onto that diamond, which increases the intensity, and Ivan said that's when he feels like he plays his best, is when he has that sense of urgency. He especially loves this diamond at Whitehouse Field, where he went 4 innings, not allowing a single run or hit in the Birds' 12-0 victory. Ivan is looking to bring that same efficiency tonight and help set the tone early on for his team. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Sammy. That's the starting pitcher for the Firebirds. The starting pitcher for Harwich tonight is Tom Shimoleski out of Princeton, the rising junior. Now, Ian, yesterday it was a pitching duel between the Firebirds and the Mariners. You had 8 innings of just 1 run allowed. It all started with Grayson Carter. How big was that start for the Firebirds?
It was Grayson Carter's first postseason start since he was playing at Fairview High School in Colorado, but you couldn't tell. And he pitches at Vanderbilt for a reason, right? His fastball has the highest velocity of any pitch in the Cape Cod Baseball League this year, and he was throwing it for strikes yesterday in the high 90s. That's why he had 8 Ks in 6 innings. But it wasn't only the fastball, right? He was telling Sammy, he was telling us after the game, as he kept going through the order a second, third time around, it was the secondary offerings that took presence and that took the forefront with the changeup and the slider. Everything was working for Carter, and that set up a really solid 3 innings of work out of a bullpen for Matt Watson, too.
Watson was great, allowing a few runners, but keeping the game where it was at 1-0 until the 9th inning, where the Firebirds came back and scored 2 to win the game 2-1. Who was at the middle of that rally? Well, Justin Rubin had the game-tying single to tie us up at 1, and Ian caught up with him before today's game.
Rubin, Justin, you came up in a big spot last night in an unbelievable 9th inning, but before honing in on your hit that tied the game, just tell me, what do you think of that 9th inning when you look back at it?
Oh, man, that's the type of inning right there that you dream about, and when you're doing your visualization and all that prep work, like that's what you're envisioning, and like it doesn't really get any more exciting than that.
How does this group envision that kind of finish even after 8 innings without putting a run across the board?
With our guys, our group, we never once lose faith. I mean, you saw in the last game of the regular season, the game was a nightmare, and we still almost came back. But I've been here for just over a month, we've had 4 walk-offs, so it's, it's familiar territory. Sometimes I think we do it on purpose. We like the theatrics, we want to make things exciting.
Well, you guys are certainly making things exciting, trying to continue the exciting season here with Justin Rubin on the scorching start. Honing in on your moment, you put the ball in play. Good things happen when you put the ball in play. What were you thinking when it was making his way past the left side of the mound?
Off the bat, I kind of knew that it would be a hit. It's not the type of hit that you're necessarily trying to do, but like you said, put the ball in play, good things happen. I've been that way my whole life. I knew it was a spot where we needed a team AB, you can't strike out. So I didn't do exactly what I was trying to do, but I did what I needed to do.
And then you did what you needed to do. Jack Penny did what he needed to do as well. I know you haven't been here the entirety of the year, but Jack Penny, an all-star, he's come up in so many big moments. What did you think of his at-bat?
He's a stud, man. He's unreal. He's got, I think, probably the slowest heartbeat of anyone I've been around. I don't know if he lives for those moments, but he thrives in them. That's what kind of guy he is, and he leads by example, and that's what he did.
And yesterday it started with Grayson Carter on the mound and Matthew Watson. How impressive were those two guys? 2 pitchers, 9 innings, 1 run.
So good. I mean, both those guys have been great all year. Just when you think they can't be any better than they've already been, that's exactly what they did. They both stepped up. Was it Grayson's longest start of the year?
It was his longest start of the year.
So, like I was saying, lights out start from Grayson, and Waddy. I've never seen someone just thrown in the fire and walk out untouched like he has so many times. Like, he's our big when there's a big spot, he's the guy who gets the call and executes and does it every time.
This team got it done. So much execution offensively. Even though it wasn't the prettiest of nights, again, you guys get it done. And what do you think you take from that game and try to bring it into this game to try to get those early runs and support those pitchers?
Stick with our approach and, keep doing what we've been doing all year. Like, sometimes it's about just grinding out ABs, and that's what we did last night. It's not always pretty. I don't think anyone's worried. I don't think anyone bats an eye. It's just keep doing what we do. I think we got the best hitting coach in the league. He's taken. I think it would be incorrect to say that we're the most talented bunch, but I think what we lack in talent we make up in heart and strategy and grit, and a lot of that roots from the top, and that's Max Pesky runs the offense, and so like I said, keep doing what we do, and I think every night we step onto the diamond like this. Got a shot to do something special.
Max Fesky, this offense, Justin Rubin trying to do something special, get back to the second round of the playoffs for the first time since 2017. Justin Rubin, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Dylan, back to you.
That was Justin Rubin, who's back in the lineup today, batting second and at DH. A big game-tying single in that 9th inning as the Firebirds came from behind from 1-0 going into the 9th to winning the game 2-1. And we're about 5 minutes before first pitch as managers Kelly Nicholson and Steve Engler meet with the umpires, all 4 today here at Game 2 at Whitehouse Field in Harwich. What do the Firebirds really need to focus on to finish off a team that's really, they have 9 innings until their season could be over?
What you have to focus on today if you're Orleans is giving your team run support early on. I mean, go back to a few weeks ago when we were here from Whitehouse Field on the 13th of July. And Orleans had one of its most dominant wins of the year against the Mariners. Won double-digit runs and you nearly pitched a no-hitter. That's not going to happen again today, right? I think Ivan Romero is a fantastic pitcher, and he does limit a lot of damage against him. He went 4 shutout, hitless frames the last time he was here. Yes, he needs to do that again. That would be fantastic. But Justin Rubin and this offense, who are playing for each other right now. They're playing selfless. They're doing the right things. That 9th inning was fantastic, but you need it a little bit early on. It's a Harwich offense that is struggling. It's a Mariners team that does so much better when they have the lead after 6. They had the lead after 6 yesterday. You got away with a win, but don't put yourself in a difficult spot again when it comes down to the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings, because Harwich's bullpen is really good. You were able to beat up on them late yesterday, but don't expect to get as lucky a second time around.
This is the Harwich pitching staff that's going to be starting with Tom Shimoleski. You can see a few arms out of the bullpen today as well. They're on their last lap. They need to win today or else their season is over, and Orleans is moving on to the second round. And let's go through the starting 9 for the Firebirds.
Starting 9 for the Firebirds looks pretty similar to yesterday, but 2 changes in the lineup. Nacho Oyama, he leads off and plays second. Justin Rubin once again bats second and does the DHing. Jack Penny, the walk-off hero of last night's game, bats third and plays short once more. Matt Hallback plays first and bats cleanup. Eddie Micheletti Jr., his second straight start in left field. He bats fifth. Eddie King Jr. once again in center field, batting sixth. Brandon Stallman, the third baseman, bats seventh. And here are the 2 changes tonight for Kelly Nicholson. Batting eighth instead of Henry Hunter, it is Owen Carpellotti behind the dish. And batting ninth, it is not Colin Tuft. Instead, it is Fenwick Trimble in right field. That's the 1 for 9 for Kelly Nicholson today.
And we're getting close. Harwich has taken the field with a few kids at their side. Before we get to the anthem, Ian, give me your pick to click.
That's a good question. You know, I want to see something out of Fenwick Trimble tonight, right? He hits the ball among one of the highest hard-hit ball rates in the Cape Cod Baseball League this summer, but only 7 since the middle of July. So for Fenwick Trimble, needs to be on his A game tonight, provide a little something in that 9-hole.
He'll be in the 9-hole, batting ninth, playing in right field. We'll head to the anthem here on the Birds Broadcast Network.
Whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Margaret.
Great, Margaret. Playoff Margaret. Okay. Count me down.
Fans, what makes a Subaru a Subaru? I don't know, but there is a red one parked in front of the gate in the coaches' lot. If you drive
Anthem
a red
over.
Subaru,
Lineups have
please
been
move your
given.
car at
We're
this
ready for
time.
some baseball
Thank you.
here in Harwich on Saturday afternoon between the Mariners and the Firebirds. Game 2 of the East Division Semifinals. The Firebirds up 1-0. They look to close it out tonight. And who's on the mound for Harwich? It's the big lefty.
Tom Chmielewski. The last time he pitched against Orleans, it was by far his worst outing of the summer. He was just named Harwich's pitcher of the year for good reason. Doesn't walk a lot of guys, strikes out a lot of guys, but he allowed a lot of hits way back on the 13th of July, 9 of them in only 3 innings on the mound. He gave up 6 runs. Only 3 of them were earned. Why? He committed an error, and he saved his ERA on the year. Chmielewski's very good, though. He'll have a 3-pitch mix, and he's been one of the best pitchers in the Cape Cod Baseball League all summer.
Chmielewski, a native of Massachusetts, from Needham, about 90 minutes from Harwich. Now he attends Princeton as a rising junior. All 6 starts this season for Chmielewski, 3 earned runs or less. They look for, 2 to 3 out of him, and then looking to unleash a few arms out of the bullpen is Harwich.
The big name to watch out for Steve Englert's bullpen tonight, which has been very good as of late, is Colin Rothermel from Kansas State. Orleans saw him just 6 days ago on Monday in a 2-1 walk-off win. And no, I'm not getting confused. I know Orleans walked off Harwich 2-1 last night too, but the Mariners have been on the short end of the stick the last 2 times against Orleans. Rothermel, he went 6 1/3, a season high for him here in the Cape on that Monday game, and he was fantastic, just striking out guys left and right. He had 7 Ks on the day. It's been an up-and-down summer for him, but he showed what he is at the peak of his powers. He has a good grasp of this Orleans lineup.
So we have the Orleans lineup. Let's go through Harwich defense as Chmielewski is almost ready to go. Leary, Obi, and Lambros from left to right in the outfield. Keister, Camarillo, Rivera, and Anderson from third to first. And Brian Arendt does the catching for Harwich. The same lineup, the same defensive lineup as last night. And the same leadoff hitter from last night, Joe Oyama, starts the game off for the Firebirds against Harwich here for Game 2. Shimoleski, the left-handed pitcher from the windup. The first pitch of Game 2 is fouled off by Oyama, who has gone into a little bit of a slide relative to what he's done this season, which has been nothing short of excellent. 0 for his last 6, with a strikeout in last night's 9th inning. 0-1, and there for a strike. Shimoleski's best pitch, his go-to pitch for strikeouts, is a sweeping slider that goes outside the lefties and in on righties. The 0-2 pitch, a fastball that goes high. Oyama checks his swing. Third base umpire Chris Engstrand confirms that. Second base umpire tonight, Mickey Garcia. Mike Hinojosa at first, and Jeff Kinney behind the plate. Count 1-2 to Oyama. It's low, almost clips his back foot. Game 2 of a playoff series. First playoff game this year at Harwich. The 2-2, low, full count. Ian Shimoleski is not one to walk a lot of batters.
Only 6 walks on this summer compared to over 25 strikeouts. Didn't walk anybody in his last start against Orleans.
The full count pitch. Oyama goes around on a pitch that almost hit him. A fastball inside. Oyama got out of the way, but the bat crossed home plate. First out of the game is a strikeout for the lefty Shimoleski.
Yeah, that extends Oyama's slump, if you want to call it that, to 0 for 7. He hasn't struck out a lot in that time. It's only the second K in his last 7 at-bats, but you want to see him wake up a little bit.
The first pitch to Justin Rubin is in there for a strike. Rubin, who had the game-tying infield single in last night's 2-1 win. Bases loaded, 2 outs. And a hit to shallow shortstop right on the infield grass. And Ali Camarillo, the shortstop for Harwich, couldn't gather it. Tied the game. Count 1-1 on Rubin. Lefty Shimoleski deals a fastball that Rubin fouls off at the plate at what reads at 96 on the radar gun here at Whitehouse Field. We'll get the TrackMan up for you as well to confirm that. Shimoleski's going to sit right there in the low 90s. 95, 96 would be a little bit faster than what we've seen this year, but hey, it is the playoffs.
Saw Sean Hard coming out of a bullpen last night for Harwich, pumping in 96 too.
1-2, fouled back. That reads 97. 1-2 on the righty Rubin, who is transferring to Pepperdine in the fall after 2 years at Virginia. The 1-2 pitch is low. Last night, not a lot of offense. Almost none. A solo home run by Ali Camarillo in the 6th, and 2 runs by Orleans in the bottom of the 9th. That was all. 2-2 in the air to center. Devin Obi doesn't have to move much, just a step to his right, makes the catch for out number 2.
Orleans is going to win this game in the early stages by putting the ball in play. Struck out 8 times last night. Not an unbelievable number, but as we've already talked about, Shimoleski not one to hand out free passes. You can stay as patient as can be. Jack Penny, he walked twice last night, but put the ball in the air.
Penny up with 2 outs and nobody on here in the top of the first. First pitch is fouled away on a fastball high and away. 0-1. Penny was the hero last night. Not only 2 walks, but also a walk-off single in the 9th inning to win the game. 0-1 pitch from Shimoleski is the slider that's low, 1-1.
What a night for Jack Penny. He can do no wrong for this Firebirds team. Little Massachusetts on Massachusetts action here.
Wakefield for Penny, Needham for Shimoleski. 1-1 fastball runs high.
It's always fun when not only you get to see 2 of the best players at their respective position do their thing, but both of them just outside of Boston, born and raised, and playing here in the Cape Cod Baseball League.
2-1, a fastball inside. 3-1. Second 3-ball count and 2 batters for Shimoleski, who we mentioned has been really good. He's struggled at Princeton in his 2 years there. An 8 ERA his freshman year. Got it down to a 3.6 his sophomore year. Penny walks and a fastball high and tight. A runner on for Orleans with 2 outs, and it brings up Matt Hallback.
Jack Penny, again, with another good at-bat. Not chasing outside the zone. Walking for his 3rd time in his last 2 games. Top 5 in the league during the regular season in walks. Matt Hallback trying to bounce back after going 0 for 3 last night.
Hallback the righty with Penny on first. The first pitch is the slider low at 81. Penny with no successful stolen bases on the year. He has tried, but he was caught all 4 times. Shimoleski the lefty staring down Penny. The 1-0 low once again, this time with the fastball. Harwich is wearing their cream-colored uniforms, both the tops and the pants. Blue socks with red circles around the top. And Harwich on the red hats. Hallback, a single in the right field between second and first. A little 2-out rally here for Orleans with 2 on and 2 out. And Eddie Micheletti comes to bat.
Oh, it was the same thing last night, right? Orleans loaded the bases against Harwich in the bottom of the 9th without recording an out, struck out twice, and then scored both of the runs that it had throughout the ball game with 2 outs. When the pressure is on, this Orleans offense is at its best.
Micheletti was in this position exactly last night. 2 on, 2 outs in the first. Micheletti single up the middle and into center field. Penny gets the wave. The throw by Obi. Not in time. Eddie Micheletti gets the Firebirds on the board. A 2-out rally here in the first. One 0 Orleans as Micheletti singles up the middle. Around comes Penny. Hallback at second with 2 outs.
From Louisville, number 14, Eddie King Jr.
Some of the best plate discipline on this team and one of the best in the Cape Cod Baseball League at timing up that swing and sending it into the outfield. Eddie Micheletti delivers the first blow. Orleans gets on the board early, unlike last night.
Now you can say in 2 straight innings, they got a run. Forgot the first 8 yesterday. 2 on still with Eddie King the batter. He takes low and inside. When the Firebirds faced Shimoleski back earlier in the season, on July 13th, Micheletti an RBI single to right field. Tonight, an RBI single to center field. The 1-0. King goes around as he tips the ball into the glove of Arendt, the catcher. Hallback on second, Micheletti on first. 2 hits already in this inning for Orleans, and 1 run coming across in Jack Penny. Shimoleski looks at second, now fires to the plate. A fastball at the top of the zone at 95. 1-2 with 2 outs. Set at the belt, the 1-2 pitch. King goes down, swinging. A strikeout for Shimoleski, his second of the inning, but the Firebirds strike first. An RBI single by Eddie Micheletti Jr. to put things up 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the first. 1 run on 2 hits for the Firebirds in the top of the first, and they send out their starting pitcher today is Ivan Romero, the rising senior out of U of San Diego. Ivan has been really good this season. He's coming off his best outing, 6 innings against Hyannis of scoreless baseball back a week ago on Sunday 6 days prior. And also, Ian has had some success right here at Whitehouse Field.
He has. It was probably the best pitching performance for Orleans this summer in terms of the total pitching staff and what they did. His first start of the year, his second appearance for Orleans, went 4 scoreless, hitless frames, struck out 1, walked 2, and a 12-0 win for Orleans. Chase Hungate comes out of a bullpen. Sam Waboki comes out of a bullpen, too. They only give up 1 combined hit. And ever since, Orleans has dominated this series.
He'll face Ali Camarillo, Kevin Keister, and Ethan Anderson. The rest of the Harwich order: Devin Obie, Brian Arendt, Elijah Lambros, Cameron Leary, Talmadge Lecroy, and Daniel Rivera. The exact same as yesterday, same defensive alignment. Romero pitches from the windup. He'll wipe off the rubber and already has 1 run support behind him even before he throws his first pitch here in the bottom of the first. Camarillo, the right-handed batter out of Texas A&M. The first pitch, a fastball that he swings at into right center field. King and the right fielder Trimble. Trimble makes the catch on the run in the gap for out number 1 on 1 pitch.
And that's the great thing about this Firebirds outfield group for Kelly Nicholson. It's plug and play with plus athletes in the outfield. Eddie Micheletti's been solid in left, but whether it's Colin Tuft or Fenwick Trimble and right, you have faith that both of them can make plays that some other outfielders would not make. That's a good play there.
1 out on 1 pitch. Kevin Keister, the second batter, takes the fastball just a little bit high. The defensive alignment for Orleans in the outfield from left to right: Micheletti Jr., King, and Fenwick Trimble in right. From third to first, it's Stallman, Penny, Oyama, and Hallback. The 1-0 outside for ball 2. Doing the catching tonight, Owen Carpellotti, who made an appearance in last night's game, a bunt single in that 9th inning as a pinch hitter. 2-0 is Romero to the second batter and Kevin Keister. He swings and fouls it away, first base side and out of play. Here at Whitehouse Field, where there is basically no wind, no breeze today. And what's the Apple Watch saying?
77 degrees and, as Apple describes it, fair weather.
I'd say so. The 2-1 in fair territory to Penny at shortstop. He charges. He can't make the play. It goes under his glove. Keister reaches. I'm not sure if he would have been able to throw him out anyway, as that ball was not hit hard at all. They'll go down as a single. Keister on first with 1 out, and up comes Ethan Anderson.
Giving shades of Ali Camarillo, Justin Rubin from last night's game. Just a slow grounder off the left side of a mound, and Camarillo and Penny both very good defensively, but neither good enough to run 100 miles an hour into the infield grass and make that play. Sometimes you just reach on an infield single.
Keister on first, 1 out. First pitch to Anderson is a called strike with the fastball. And if Harwich wants to come back in this series, they need Ethan Anderson to show up.
One of the best players in the ACC at Virginia, but 0 for 4 last night with 2 strikeouts. His at-bats need to be longer and more productive.
0-1 the count, 1 out with a runner on first. The pitch from Romero at the bottom of the zone, doesn't get the call, I guess a little bit low. 2-1. Firebirds in a defensive shift with Hallback covering at first, holding on the runner. Penny, the shortstop, playing right behind second base. The 1-1 is fouled right back. And Stallman plays about equally between third base and second base. Almost on the outfield grass.
Obviously, somebody's gone over the spray charts. This team has shifted a lot more as of late.
1-2 with 1 out. The pitch from Romero. Curveball got him swinging. Ivan Romero said his curveball was his best pitch against Hyannis just 6 days ago. Gets his first strikeout of the night with the curveball of Ethan Anderson.
That was an unbelievable performance that he put together on the road against the Harbor Hawks offense. It's one of the best in the league. Doesn't always rely on that curveball. It's the fastball that really plays for him up in the zone. Both those pitches look good right now.
Keister still at first. Devin Obie, the batter, takes high with the fastball at 94. Back to the original defensive shift, or should I say no shift, for the Firebirds. 1-0 Orleans here in the bottom of the first. Romero's 1-0 pitch runs high once again. Romero not only throws a 4-seam fastball, also throws a 2-seamer and a sinker. 3 different types of fastballs, along with a changeup and a curveball. All 5 fingers of Owen Carpellotti will be used today. The 2-0 is popped in the air, foul. First base side, 2-1.
Yeah, Romero might be a reliever in college at San Diego, but he does not pitch like one out here on the Cape. That's why both Orleans and his team last summer, Yarmouth Dennis, gave him great opportunities as a starter.
Has some Cape Cod baseball playoff experience. Runner goes, pitches the ball, throw down, tag from Oyama, he's safe. Keister takes a bag. The curveball apparently ran a little bit high to Obie. 3-1 now the count with 2 outs and Keister on second.
Keister, who has not been with this team long, Maryland Terrapin joined the squad late last month. His second stolen base on 3 attempts.
Romero steps off, gets the count, 3-1 with 2 outs. Peers in at Carpellotti against the cleanup hitter, Devin Obie, out of Duke. The pitch, smack to shortstop, but right on the ground. Penny bobbles it. The throw, is it in time? It is. Great job. Jack Penny bobbles it at first, gets it back, and makes a strong throw to Hallback to finish off this inning. Harwich leaves a man in scoring position at second and stays off the board. 1-0 Orleans as we go to the second inning. Back here on the Birds Broadcast Network for the top of the second inning. Brandon Stallman takes a strike from Tom Chmielewski to start off the top of the second. The Firebirds had 2 hits in the first, along with a walk. They scored a run on an Eddie Micheletti RBI single.
What a great at-bat from Brandon Stallman late in yesterday's win against Harwich. A 9-pitch at-bat in the bottom of an ninth, a bloop single in the left.
0-2, foul tip into the mitt of Brian Arendt. A 3-pitch strikeout for Stallman to begin the second.
Unfortunately, it doesn't translate into that at-bat. Hey, he has had some tough times from the plate. over the last few games, but Orleans needs him to be that contact bat that he has been in the bottom half of this lineup if they want this playoff run to extend beyond this series.
4 outs for Chmielewski. 3 of them are strikeouts. Up comes the lefty catcher, Owen Carpellotti, who takes inside a fastball for a ball. Carpellotti, I mentioned, had that bunt in the 9th inning that allowed the bases to become loaded. It was a bunt right back to the pitcher. The 1-0 pitch is inside to the Georgetown catcher. The bunt went right back to the pitcher, but Ethan Anderson, the first baseman, was playing in, expecting the bunt, and picked it up, wanting to throw to third base to get the lead runner in Eddie King. He couldn't, as Carpellotti fouls back to 2-0. And it was bases loaded, nobody out. 2 strikeouts later, and Justin Rubin hit a game-tying single.
Yeah, people won't remember how the bases got loaded. They'll only remember how the runs came home, but those 3 played such a big part.
The 2-1, a broken bat, dribbler to first base. Anderson picks it up on the backhand, toss to Chmielewski. Nice play. Anderson threw a dart to Chmielewski, who was darting towards the bag. 2 outs here in the second.
Chmielewski, even after giving up the early run off the RBI single from Eddie Micheletti, has not allowed that up and down first inning to bite him here in the second. He's retired 3 in a row since giving up the RBI single to Micheletti. 2 strikeouts to ground out. Fenwick Trimble trying to get his season back on track here in the postseason.
The 9-hitter, Fenwick Trimble, takes the ball outside from Chmielewski. He's already reached upwards of 30 pitches. Here in the second inning, Ian, so important for the Firebirds to work Chmielewski's pitch count and get to that bullpen early. The 1-0 is swing and a miss at the fastball.
We expect Colin Rothamel at some point today for Steve Englert. Don't know when that would be. Went 6 1/3 against Orleans on Monday out of a bullpen. Will he piggyback Chmielewski? Who knows when it will be. That's what Orleans can force.
1-1 fastball, and the bat comes out of Trimble's hand. It goes to the backstop. It drags up some dirt with it. He's going to go chase after it. It happened last night as well. Colin Tuft in the 9th inning.
I don't know what it is with the right-handed batters from the state of Virginia. Just letting that thing fly out of our hands. Last night at Eldridge, the bat flew out of play and into the stands. It actually got a piece of a fan. Luckily, they were all right. This one does not soar to the stands and the bleachers here at Whitehouse Field. Fenwick Trimble now trying to battle with nobody on, 2 out, and a 2-strike count.
1-2. Orleans with 2 hits. Harwich with just 1. And Orleans with the advantage on the scoreboard, 1-0. Chmielewski's 1-2 is a fastball that's high. Goes all the way back to the backstop. Off of Aron's glove. A big backstop here in Whitehouse Field. Could be the biggest here in the Cape Cod Baseball League. Starts with grass and goes to the warning track, which is gravel. The 2-2 pitch to Trimble and smacked into center. Obi right at him. Makes the catch. A 1-2-3 second inning against the bottom of the order for Tom Chmielewski. He stands at 36 pitches through 2, giving up 1 run. 1-0 Firebirds here on the Birds Broadcast Network as we head to the bottom of the second. Back here on the Birds Broadcast Network, we head to the bottom of the second here in Game 2 of the East Division Semifinals. Orleans up
Leading
1-0.
off the bottom of the
Ian,
second for
what are the
Harwich,
scores around the
catcher
league?
from
The big
UNC
score to watch out
Wilmington.
for. Yarmouth
Number
Dennis
11,
hosting Brewster
Brian
down 0-1 in
Hunt.
the series, but trying to even it up. They lead 3-0 in the top of the 7th. Meanwhile, the games Katuitt, Bourne, Hyannis, Falmouth have yet to start tonight.
Still 2 games after us. That's a new thing. We're usually the latest game to start. A 5:30 start here at Whitehouse Field, earlier than the regular season. Ivan Romero back to the mound, gets a pop-up, foul territory from Arendt. Hallback looking at it near the dugout, and he makes the catch. Matt Hallback has been so good defensively at first base and steals an out right there in foul territory for Ivan Romero.
Hallback was
Right fielder
not at
from
his
Maryland,
best
number
offensively
25,
last night, which we
Elijah
haven't said very often
Ambrose.
because over the last third of the year he's been sensational, but made a couple really tough plays at first. He played third last year in college, but he's adjusted quite nicely.
1 pitch, 1 out here in the second. Elijah Lambros takes a slider for a strike right down the middle. Lambros out of Maryland went 1 for 4 with a strikeout in last night's game 1. Joe Oyama, the second baseman, plays behind the bag. 0-1 fastball in there for a strike. 0-2. 3 straight strikes to start off the second for Romero.
Lambros has only been with the team for 10 games. He's reached base 9 times in a row.
0-2 sliders outside, picked by Carpellotti for a ball. Lambros out of Maryland. One of 2 Maryland bats in this order. Him and Kevin Keister, the 2-hitter. 1-2 pitch. Fastball just outside. Carpellotti looked to bring it back against the righty Lambros. Didn't get the call. 2-2 with 1 out and nobody on. Romero from the windup. 2-2 slider that's fouled back to the backstop. Romero, who pitched for YD last summer, actually pitched in the playoff game that eliminated the Firebirds, game 2 of the East Division Semifinals last season. Went 5 2/3, a scoreless baseball. Fastball powers past Lambros. A strikeout for Romero, his second on the night, and the second out here in the second inning.
Outside of
Left
Keister's
fielder from
single
Boston College,
in
number
the first,
27,
which
Cameron
infield single
Leary.
for the Terrapin, who batted second in the first inning. Ivan Romero looks just like the pitcher he was on the 13th of July when this team was last here, and especially have a guy that we saw in Hyannis not even a week ago.
Started out great. 6 batters up, 1 with the hit, other 5 are outs. Base is empty. First pitch to Cam Leary out of Boston College is outside to the only, I'm not going to say real lefty because Ethan Anderson's a switch hitter, but strictly lefty hitter in this order for Harwich. 1-0, fastball at the bottom of the zone for a strike.
Just kind of an odd trend that's followed Steve Englert's team all summer. I feel like ever since his team kind of solidified when Orleans was last here on the 13th of July, it's been righty heavy.
1-1, fastball goes high. Also determines how Orleans is going to use their bullpen. How will they use their lefties? Can they use their lefties against a team like Harwich with a lot of right-handed hitters? 2 righties last night and a righty starting pitcher on the mound. 2-1, pounded into center. In comes Eddie King, and he makes the catch. A hard hit line drive by Cam Leary finds the glove of Eddie King, and Ivan Romero matches Tom Shimoleski 1-2-3 in the second. Still 1-0 Firebirds as we head to the third.
Welcome back to the Birds Broadcast Network. I'm Sammy Miller. The Firebirds are currently up 1-0, heading to the top of the third. Now, every time the Firebirds have walked onto the diamond this summer, they've had that will and want to win. And now, of course, that the playoffs are here, that drive is heightened. One thing, though, that Firebirds manager Kelly Nicholson never wants to see waver is their team's character. One quote that Skip has been emphasizing to this group is one from the legendary John Wooden, reading, "Be more concerned with your character than your reputation, because your character is what you really are, while your reputation is merely what other people think you are." No matter what calls they do or don't get, he wants his guys to remain calm, be professional, and move on to the next play while maintaining that good character. Yes, of course, these wins and losses mean so much to them, but something special about the Firebirds coaches is they're trying to mold these players into the best professionals as possible, with a lot of that coming down to bringing guys in that have that good character, which is definitely paying off. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Sammy, and we've seen it from the position players for the Firebirds especially. It has not been a group that has been rotating in and out all season. A lot of these guys have been here since day one. Joe Oyama leads off the third inning and takes a ball from Shimoleski, the lefty, who starts his third inning of work. He and Joe Oyama didn't start from day one, but he's brought so much to this team on and off the field.
There's a reason why he was the team MVP, and I understand his numbers have been sensational this summer, but the guys want to play for somebody like Joe Oyama.
Oyama, line drive into right field. Forget 0 for 7, make it 1 for 8. Joe Oyama, a hit here in the third to lead off the inning.
That's one Joe Oyama needed. Didn't hit it super hard, only 75 miles an hour off the bat, but just lined it into a good spot and right. Again, you look at the entirety of this order, 7 of the 9 guys that are playing for the Firebirds tonight in this order have been here since the first week of the year. Even Justin Rubin and Brandon Stallman, the 2 later additions, have both been great team guys.
Check over on Oyama, comes back. Right back to Shimoleski. The Firebirds with their black vests on that read Orleans over their chest and the red undershirts with the white pants. Oyama off first. The first pitch to Rubin, bunted up in the air. Arendt dives and he makes the catch. Rubin looked to move over Oyama with the bunt. He popped it up, and Arendt makes the catch. The catcher does in foul territory for out number 1.
I got to give a lot of credit to Brian Arendt. I know Harwich didn't come up with a win last night, but how he played behind the dish with Cole Rowland throwing breaking ball after breaking ball in the dirt. He was putting on a master class on how to play the catcher position. I know that wasn't blocking up a pitch there, but great reaction and nice way to record it out after the leadoff single.
Another check over on Oyama. Anderson picks it out of the air. Jack Penny is the batter. He walked with 2 outs in the first inning. Came around to score on an RBI single by Eddie Micheletti Jr. to give the Firebirds the 1-0 lead they have right now. Shimoleski stares at Oyama. Penny, line drive to second. To short for 1, on to first, double play. Rivera to Camarillo to Anderson. 4-6-3 for the DP. And get Shimoleski out of the third. Still 1-0 Orleans as we go to the bottom of the frame. back here on the Birds Broadcast Network. A 1-0 lead for Orleans as we head to the bottom of the third. Ivan Romero has been really good for the Firebirds so far today. He's retired 5 in a row going back to the first inning. He'll face Talmadge Lecroy, the 8-hitter for Harwich, who went 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts in last night's 2-1 loss in Game 1. The right-handed hitter out of South Carolina, with the long hair flowing out of his helmet. First pitch is low from Romero, who has a really interesting story and has been almost everywhere on the West Coast. We mentioned him playing in the Cape Cod Baseball League last season. He started playing baseball, of course, in elementary school and middle school in Mesa, Arizona, which is just about 20 minutes east of Phoenix. His sister got an academic scholarship to head over to USD. Got the deal and ended up going there, but Romero's family was looking for a way of income as Lecroy fouls back the 2-1, now 2-2. And Romero's father ended up working in Northern California, in Vacaville, where they live now, looking to make ends meet and make some money doing some labor work. Now his sister eventually moved up and worked with his father, 2-2, now 3-1. Check that 3-1 on the scoreboard. But still no outs, nobody on here in the third. So Romero could go to USD, where he got a scholarship and has been there for now 3 seasons. 3-1 pitch, a swing and a miss by Lecroy, runs the count full. So Romero and his mom moved to San Diego for him to go to college there and play baseball. But how he got there was another interesting story, and kind of how things happen, and a story that'll always be told. We'll do the full count pitch first. The 3-2, popped up foul and out of play first base side. So Romero, originally from Arizona, had a tournament in San Diego playing baseball. In Huntington Beach, actually, not in San Diego, above that. And he goes to the field, and he sees the Poway Midland High School team playing there. He just played. The 3-2 was inside for a walk to begin the inning. Curveball that didn't drop down in the zone. And the Poway Midland High School coach said, hey, we like how you hit the ball. We like how you pitch. Maybe you can join our team. Come see our game tomorrow. Romero said, yeah, maybe I'll come over there, but he didn't give that much thought. The next day, still in Huntington Beach, him and his dad were at an open field just fielding ground balls. His dad hitting ground balls to him on an open field like a normal baseball player would be doing, and how chances had it as Romero fires a first pitch strike to Daniel Rivera is that the Poway Midland High School team had a game that night 3 hours later, so they ended up going to the field, and the coach took that as Romero coming to see their game, but working before. That's when he got the offer to play at their high school. The 0-1 is high to the 9-hitter Rivera with a runner on first and nobody out. Goes to Midland High School, and their hitting coach, because Romero was originally a shortstop and a third baseman, was Darren Johnson, son of Darren Johnson, an MLB legend who played in the league for over 10 years. The 1-1 is high. Hitting coach Johnson has a brother who's named Tom Johnson. Ended up being a pitching coach. So once Romero really started to become a pitcher in his junior year of high school, he worked with Darren Johnson, who's been working with MLB players for his entire career. 2-1 turns into 2-2 at a fastball at the top of the zone, including Joe Musgrove, a current starting pitcher for the Padres. Learned from him. Got a lot of pitching tips, got a lot of experience, and has gone into USD and has really excelled, especially in his sophomore season. 2-2 is high, 3-2. Romero shakes off Carpellotti 3 times. He's got 5 pitches. Option number 4 is the choice. The 3-2 pitch is a fastball that's popped up foul and out of play.
You mentioned that really good sophomore season for Romero. A 2.5 ERA, 44 Ks to 16 walks. Ended up starting USD's second matchup with Vanderbilt in the NCAA regional that the Toreros played in that year. Just over a 6 ERA this past spring, but he settled it back in this summer.
Blew the full count pitch again with a runner on first and nobody out. Kicks the leg and deals a fastball line drive into left field, base hit. Fielding it is Micheletti Jr. to toss it back in. But some production from the bottom of the Harwich order. Both the 8 and 9 hitters get on with nobody out, and it brings up Ali Camarillo.
Yeah, you look back last night. It's an identical lineup last night as it was tonight. LeCroy and Rivera didn't have a single hit. They struck out a combined 3 times. And here in their first at-bat of Game 2, LeCroy a leadoff walk. Rivera smokes one 96 miles an hour through the 5-6 hole for a single. Your lineup needs to be dominant, 1 through 9, if you want to win playoff games here on the Cape. Those two stepping up after a dud last night.
2 on for Harwich with nobody out. Camarillo lays down a bunt, third base side, fielded by Stallman. The throw to first is in time. Camarillo, the only source of offense for Harwich last night, decides to drop down a bunt, moves the runners over. So on third now is LeCroy. On second is Rivera. And Camarillo gives himself up for out number 1, and here comes Kevin Keister.
You mentioned it. He has been this team's saving grace offensively over the last week against Orleans. 2-1 losses for Harwich on both Monday and yesterday to the Firebirds, and the 1 run came off the bat from Camarillo with a couple solo shots. But there he moves the runners over, does a job. Now Romero tries to work through a second and third jam.
Runners at second and third, 1 out. Keister the batter. First pitch into center field. Average depth. The runner will be LeCroy. Catch by King. The tag by LeCroy. Throw goes into third. The tag not in time. A sac fly for Kevin Keister on the first pitch from Romero. Ties this game at 1 as LeCroy comes in to score. Rivera moves over to third with 2 outs.
Kevin Keister has been such an important addition to this team. So many big names have come and gone. Keister, one of the big midseason acquisitions, understood the situation. Eddie King with a fine throw to third. Really good base running from Rivera to get there in time. And you needed that run if you were Harwich to tie this game.
And a big situation continues. Runner on third, Rivera, with Ethan Anderson. Left-handed against the right-handed. Romero, line drive, past the glove of Hallback into right field. Harwich will take the lead here in the third as Rivera touches home. An RBI single by Ethan Anderson puts Harwich on top.
That's Ethan Anderson, 88 miles an hour off the bat, a couple hard-hit balls in a row. This Harwich order the second time around against Romero, and not the first time they've seen him this season, is starting to find their groove.
Brings up Devin Obie. This inning has gotten out of hand in terms of how the offense has gone in this series. Obie swings and misses at a curveball in the dirt. Anderson on first. Harwich with 2 runs here in the bottom of the third to take the lead. A 1 fastball's inside. Ian, last night Harwich was taking a lot of pitches. They were drawing out long at-bats. Here in the third, it's been quick at-bats, swinging early. The 1-1, fouled back.
Well, you saw it last night. They were drawing out some at-bats, but they only ended up walking, 1 time on the game. I think they understood that drawing out at-bats was not the winning formula for this team and wasn't going to produce runs against a good Orleans pitching staff. If they're going to throw you pitches in the zone, trust your swing and be on time.
1-2 the count. Anderson takes off, swing and a miss. Obie goes down by way of the strikeout, third of the day for Ivan Romero, who allows 2 runs here in the third as LeCroy and Rivera come around to score. Harwich up 2-1 as we go to the fourth. Back here on the Birds Broadcast Network, 2-1 Harwich after 3 full innings, and Tom Chmielewski back to the mound here in the 4th. And we know the score here. What's the scores around the playoff picture here in Cape Cod?
Yarmouth, Dennis, and Brewster. YD leads Brewster 3-1 in the top of the 8th. YD trying to stave off elimination today. They no-hit Brewster through 6, but the Whitecaps have gotten on the board. In the top of the 2nd, Katuitt leads Bourne 1-0. Shout out to Travis Bizana. He was just named league MVP. His Commodores have not scored a run yet against the Harbor Hawks in the top of the 1st from Arnie Allen Diamond.
4 games going on at once. We thank you for tuning into this one. We head to the top of the 4th. Matt Hallback, the batter, singled back in the 1st. Firebirds with a run in the top of the 1st. Not any since. As Hallback fouls off the first pitch from Chmielewski. The lefty struggled in that first inning, Ian, but ever since he's been pretty good.
Oh, he's been great. I mean, he had a great junior season with Princeton. He's translated it this summer. Got hit around in that first game against Orleans, but he settled in here tonight.
0-1, a short chopper to second base. It dies in the grass. Rivera picks it up. The throw to first is wide. Hallback takes first on a slow chopper to second. It'll go down as a hit as Rivera threw it away, but Hallback already reached first base. Nobody out here in the 4th.
Hallback 2 for 2 on the day with a couple singles. He never gets it done in the prettiest of ways. He's got a really good swing, and he hits a lot of line drives to the outfield. They are similar to the break that this Harwich team caught in the first inning on the infield single from Kevin Keister. Just a slow dribble to second, but does the trick.
Hallback on first. Batter Eddie Micheletti Jr., who takes a fastball on the outside corner. Now, I was reading some miles per hour off the scoreboard to start the game, but now we have the official TrackMan up. And the radar gun about 5 miles per hour faster than what it is actually.
The home scoreboard. Working wonders.
93 on the board. 88 is what it really is. 0-1 the count to Micheletti Jr. The pitch is fouled back. And it seems like, you look at other sports, someone has someone else's number. Eddie Micheletti might have Tom Chmielewski's number.
We were talking to him before the game, and I think this is true of any batter and pitcher matchup. Just so much easier to go up against a guy the second time around than it is the first. But Micheletti dominated against him a couple weeks back on the 13th, too. And it has nothing to do with their college days. One guy played in the A-10 at George Washington, transferring to Virginia Tech. The next guy, Princeton, an Ivy League team. But regardless, Micheletti has just seen the ball well against the left-handed pitcher.
Hallback on first. The 0-2, a ground ball to second. Rivera glove flip to short on to first. Not in time. Micheletti beats it out. What a play by Daniel Rivera. Picks it up about 2 steps away from second base. A glove flip to Cambrio, who stands on the bag to force out Hallback. But Micheletti beats out the throw. He stands on first with 1 out, and Eddie King is the next batter.
And Rivera's a fun story, right? Spent a few years with Southern New Hampshire, a Division III school. Played in the Cape a few games with YD 2 summers ago, back here full-time with Harwich, and he's proven why he's a Division I player now at Kansas State, not a Division III player any longer.
King puts a charge into this one to right. Back goes Lambros at the track, at the wall. He makes the catch on the warning track. Andy King got a slider in the middle of the zone, but just missed a home run here at Whitehouse Field. 2 outs with 1 on for Orleans.
Probably would have been gone at Eldridge. 97 miles an hour off the bat. 332 feet to right. Lambros pirouettes out there along the wall and makes a good catch and keeps what could have been an extra base hit off the board.
Micheletti on first. The batter is Brandon Stallman, who takes low and inside. Did he go? Yes, he did. Rules Chris Engstrand, the third base umpire. So 1 strike with 2 outs and 1 on. Chmielewski looking for his 3rd straight scoreless inning. Pitch count's in a good spot, too. Next pitch will be pitch number 49. He checks over on Micheletti, who is maybe a step off first.
Both pitchers have been really efficient, whether it's been Chmielewski or Romero. Hasn't been clean, but that's the Cape Cod Baseball League for you.
0-1 to Stallman's outside. We mentioned his 9-pitch battle last night against Sean Hart in the 9th inning, snapping an 0-for-12 streak. A little blooper into left field in front of Cam Leary to put first and second on for the Firebirds. 1-1 is low, blocked up by Arendt. Harwich is wearing beige, as we mentioned, but Arendt's jersey is going to be brown soon after all these blocks he has to make in the dirt.
Did it last night. Second year here with Harwich. There's a reason why Steve Englert brought him back. He knows what he can do.
2-1 is fouled straight back. A fastball at 88 from Shimoleski. Another interesting part of Whitehouse Field is that the bullpens are right down the foul lines. Open anyone and everyone to see.
Similar to Yarmouth Dennis, Fred Wilson Field, where Orleans or Harwich could find itself if they win the series.
YD needs a win today. We mentioned they were up 3-1 in the top of the 8th inning. Brewster just got their first hit in the 7th inning and got their first run as well. 2-2 with 2 outs and a runner on. The pitch to Stallman, line drive into right field. Lambros blocking the sun with his glove. He'll make the catch. That one 96 off the bat of Brandon Stallman. Lambros in the right spot to catch it and keep the lead for Harwich. 2-1 for the Mariners as we go to the bottom of the 4th. We head to the bottom of the 4th here at Whitehouse Field on the Birds Broadcast Network for Game 2 of the East Division Semifinals between the Orleans Firebirds and the Harwich Mariners. The Mariners lead 2-1 as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning, and it's 5, 6, and 7. In their order, Brian Arendt, Elijah Lambros, and Cam Leary due up for the Mariners. But Ian, in the top of the 4th, the Firebirds hit the ball hard, but right at the Mariners fielders.
Unfortunately, 2 fly balls from the last 2 guys that came to the plate, Eddie King Jr. and Brandon Stallman, both hit over 95 miles an hour. Both of them the right field, both of them caught. It is what it is. That's the game of baseball.
We start out the 4th. Ivan Romero fires a slider low. He was at 46 pitches through 3 innings, where the 3rd inning got him for 2 runs. It led off with a walk to Lee Croy and a single by Rivera. They came around to score. 1-1 pop-up in the infield. Into shallow left goes Jack Penny, the shortstop, still backpedaling. He makes the catch in shallow left center field for out number 1 to retire Brian Arendt.
Brian Arendt has been sneaky good this year for Harwich, and when I say that, I mean no disrespect. He's just been very good. He was an all-star in the Cape Cod Baseball League. He's been very good against Orleans, but credit to the Firebirds. They've kept him quiet over these last 2 games. He's now 0 for 6.
Brings up Elijah Lambros with 1 out, nobody on. He takes a strike with the fastball. That clocks in at 90 miles per hour. Romero starts with his glove above his head, now goes to his belt and fires a curveball in for a strike, 0-2.
I guess the glove above the head works for Romero, may not work for other pitchers. I guess Jim Weller approves.
We mentioned yesterday that Grayson Carter used to bring his glove above his head. Jim Lawler said forget that. And he pitched pretty well yesterday. 0-2 fastball. Did Lambros go around? He did not. Ruled a no swing by Mike Hinojosa, the first base umpire tonight. I guess the change worked, Ian. 6 innings of 8 Ks and only 1 run for Carter last night in Game 1. The 1-2, DeLambros just gets a piece.
That's the thing about coaching. You cannot coach every player the same way. Just because you don't like how one guy's pitching motion is doesn't mean it doesn't work for another guy. And Jim Lawler, who's had decades of experience working with a plethora of pitchers, knows that better than anybody.
Also a Cape Cod Baseball League champion, Jim Lawler, with the Wareham Gateman. 1-2, still the count to Lambros, who pops it up, foul territory, third base side, and out of play. As the left fielder, Micheletti, gives it a look. It lands over the fences.
Wareham Gateman 2018 team, right? The last time Orleans made it past the first round of the playoffs, not 2018, 2017, but pretty close.
Too bad. The Firebirds last time they made the finals, 2013 against Catuit. 1-2 to Lambros, another pop-up foul, first base side this time. Romero, who told us before the game, he says he wants to go as long as he can to save the bullpen, which in all reality is pretty saved after last night. 1-2 slider, no chase from Lambros, doesn't matter. Called strike 3 from Jeff Kinney, the home plate umpire. Strikeout number 4 for Romero, and out number 2 here in the fourth.
From Boston College,
That's a good pitch on the outer half from Romero. Clips the outside corner, no doubt about it, a strike. And although he's gone through his ups and downs today, not really, to be honest. 3 out of the 4 innings he's been really good. He's just finding the zone, moving his pitches up, down, left, and right.
First pitch to Cam Leary is high and outside. Leary, the lefty, the only lefty other than Ethan Anderson, the switch hitter in this order, lined out to center back in the second. 1-0 fastball outside for a ball. Romero has retired 3 straight. Back to the end of the third. Faces Leary out of Boston College, who had 1 of 5 hits for Harwich in last night's Game 1. 2-0, high and outside again, now 3-0. Harwich 1 ball away from getting a 2-out base runner. Romero's always moving on the mound, especially in the windup. Now comes set at the belt on the rubber. The 3-0 pitch. High and outside. A ball. A 4-pitch walk to Cam Leary with 2 outs here in the fourth. And up comes the righty, Talmadge LeCroy.
Last inning, a leadoff walk burned Romero on the mound. That spiraled into a single for Rivera and a sac bunt from Camarillo. But now you work with 2 outs. Much easier.
Runner on first. First pitch to LeCroy, a fastball in for a strike. Oh, 0-1, the count. 2 outs, runner on first is Leary. Romero takes a deep breath. Leary's on the move, swing and a miss. The throw down by Carpellani is to the left side of second base. Scooped by Oyama. 2 for 2 on stolen bases is Harwich tonight. First one for Leary as he gets in a scoring position. Count 0-2 against LeCroy.
It's a Mariners team that understands it has its back against the wall and desperately needs to extend its lead against the Firebirds offense that has been among the league's best over the back half of the season.
0-2 with 2 outs. Romero from the stretch. The pitch, swing and a miss. A fastball gets by the bat of LeCroy. 5 strikeouts for Romero through 4. We'll head to the 5th. 2-1 Harwich, and Ian Nicholas taking over on the play-by-play when we come back.
Back on the Birds Broadcast Network in the top of the 5th inning. Thanks so much for joining us from Whitehouse Field. Ian Nicholas, and Pescatore on the call. Orleans trails 2-1 in Game 2 of the East Division Semifinals against Harwich. Tom Chmielewski done, and in is Griffin Kern, the 6'3", 225-pound left-handed pitcher from Quincy, a Division II school in Illinois. He faces Owen Carpellotti, the 8th man in the order for the Firebirds. Lefty on lefty. Maybe Steve Engler, Dylan trying to play the matchup game 2 of the next 3 for the Firebirds. Southpaws.
It's interesting because Kern, who's gone long so far, 4 1/3 against Whitey in his last outing.
Carpellotti bounces one to third, fielded on a hop, and the throw to first low, but scooped by Anderson. It took a weird bounce in the infield dirt towards Kevin Keister, but the Maryland Terrapin played it perfectly. Throws it across the diamond to retire Carpellotti on 2 pitches.
He does, and Carr put a good swing on that one. But Kern, yes, the matchups do favor him. 2 of the next 3, that was Carpellotti, the lefty. Oyama, who's on deck, is a lefty as well. We'll see how they want to use Kern. Rothermill still available, and of course, if they want to use Roland, the closer from yesterday, the closer from Wake Forest, they will have no doubt to go back to him today.
Here's the bottom man in the order, right fielder Fenwick Trimble. The righty faces the left-handed Kern. Flew out to center field his first time up in the second, facing Tom Chmielewski, the Harwich pitcher of the year, who's done after only 4 innings. Bases clear, 1 out. 2-1 Harwich. The 0-1 breaking ball misses high and evens the count 1-1.
And if I'm going to be honest with you, I'm kind of shocked that Harwich took out Chmielewski. He was really good. I mean, hit allowed in the 4th, but got a lot of ground balls, was really good tonight after the first inning.
Swing and a miss from Trimble 1 and 2. But one thing I would take into account is Chmielewski, first team All-Ivy League. He pitched over 80 innings with the Tigers. He's pitched well over 30 innings here this summer. Over 110 innings pitched for Chmielewski in the year 2023. Maybe that comes into play as well. 1-2 from Kern. Popped up and out of play towards the right side of the field. Still 1 and 2 to the Virginia Beach, Virginia native. Kern from Illinois goes to a Division II school, Quincy, in the state. Heading into his senior year there. A Division II school. The 1-2 pitch, foul tip. Straight to the left side of home plate. Trimble stays alive. Quincy in the Great Lakes Valley Conference. We haven't brought that up a ton here on the Birds Broadcast Network, and you're probably asking, Ian, why would we? Well, Derek Clark, Orleans' pitcher of the year from D2 Northwood University in that same conference. The 1-2 popped up and behind the backstop. And out of play from Whitehouse Field. Trimble putting together a good fight with the bases clear and 1 out. Harwich leads 2-1, top 5, and he trails in the count 1-2. Kern sets the belt and deals. Off speed and upstairs. Arndt lunges towards his right and collects ball 2. Trimble's worked the count even. Trimble trying to rebound. It's been a little bit of a slow few weeks for him. Came into this game only 7 for his last 48. The 2-2 gets the swing and miss. Kern goes to the breaking ball. Trimble strikes out. Kern, 2 outs to start his first inning on the mound. Harwich still up 2-1.
Good job by Kern. He attacks the righty with soft stuff outside and gets the swing over it in his slider. However long he's supposed to go, Harwich is going to ride him, being the lefty he is, against a lefty-heavy lineup the Firebirds put out.
And here's the leadoff lefty, Joe Oyama, who lasers one to right. Ethan Anderson on a line makes the catch. Oyama robbed of his second hit of the game. Anderson from first base lunged towards second, backhanded it, and ends the inning 1-2-3 for Griffin Kern. That's why he's all ACC. It stays 2-1. Harwich in front. We go to the bottom of the 5th on the Birds Broadcast Network. 1-2-3 goes Griffin Kern in the top of the frame, bottom of the fifth. Orleans trying to keep it a one-run game from Whitehouse Field. Dylan not necessarily looking ahead, but let's do it. Let's look around the lake.
Katuitt up 3-0 on Bourne in the top of the third. Katuitt fighting for their lives. A loss today, and that great season all goes down the toilet. 2-1 advantage for Falmouth in the top of the second over at Gofuller Field. Orleans, of course, down 2-1 right here. And YD 2 outs away from taking it to a game 3 against Brewster.
Ivan Romero trying to get Orleans deeper into the playoffs. Back on the mound for his 5th inning of work in his 5th start of the summer, first of a postseason. He faces Daniel Rivera, the bottom man in the order. The righty misses low with the off-speed pitch. Rivera gets ahead 1-0. That's the 65th pitch for the California native, who's allowed 2 runs off 3 hits with 5 strikeouts and 2 walks. His 1-0 fastball on the lower third for a strike. 1-1 to Rivera, who's 1 for 1 today with a single in the 3rd inning. 2-1 Harwich, bottom of the 5th. The 1-1 offering. Popped up, high in the air, shallow right field. Fenwick Trimble under it. He makes the catch on the move for the first out of the inning. Rivera retired on 3 pitches.
And good catch by Trimble. He was playing in for that exact reason. A ball that went off the end of the bat of Rivera. He was poking it over to right field. You always want to get the 9-hitter out and the leadoff hitter in an inning, and that's what Romero does.
Here is the leadoff man in the order, 1 through 9 for Steve Englert tonight. The All-Star, who spent the first 2 years of his collegiate career at Cal State Northridge, transferring to Texas A&M this year. Ali Camarillo flew out to right in the first, just like Daniel Rivera just did, and laid down a sac bunt in the 3rd. First pitch he sees, he pops it up. He's frustrated because he sends it to shallow right center field, and Trimble collects it again. 2 up, 2 down, still under 70 pitches for Romero, as Rivera and Camarillo both fly out on a combined 4 pitches.
It's perfect for Romero to start off this 5th. Pitch count was in an okay spot. Now with 4 pitches, like you said, and 2 outs, perfect spot. Let's see if he can get the final one here in the 5th.
Romero with over 90 pitches in his last start against Hyannis, in which he went 6 innings. Misses on the inside corner to the right-handed bat, Kevin Keister. The 3rd baseman, 1 for 1 today with a single in the 1st and a sac fly in the 3rd. The 1-0 offering is launched. A line drive to right field, down for a hit. Trimble backhands it near the track, and Keister stops at first. 2nd hit of the game, a 2-out single.
Kevin Keister has been a beast for this Harwich team in the last 10 days or so when he's gotten here, and now he's leading this offense. He's been on base twice tonight.
First baseman from Virginia, number 23.
Reached base twice last night with a walk and a single, 98 miles an hour off the bat from the Delaware native. 2-1 Harwich trying to add on to the lead in the bottom of the 5th. Here's Ethan Anderson, the switch hitter, batting lefty. Romero deals, and the first pitch is launched deep to left center field. Eddie King Jr.'s got it right above his head to end the inning. 96 miles an hour off the bat from Anderson. It went 364 feet. But center field is 400 feet here from Whitehouse Field. Kevin Keister stranded. It stays a 1-run game. Harwich up 2-1 after 5. We go to the top of the 6th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Back on the Birds Broadcast Network in the top of the 6th. Thanks so much for joining us in Game 2 of the East Division Semifinals. The Mariners trying to get back in this series, down 1-0, but leading in the score 2-1. 2, 3, and 4 due up for the Firebirds. It starts with the designated hitter, transferring to Pepperdine after 2 years at Virginia, Justin Rubin. For the second inning in a row, it's the left-handed pitcher Griffin Kern on the mound from Quincy University. He lands a strike 0-1. How do you find somebody from Division II Quincy University? Well, you look at the strikeout numbers. 96 Ks in 70 innings on the mound this past spring. His 0-1 misses high 1-1. Did that in just 70 innings pitched for the Hawks of a Great Lakes Valley Conference. An ERA just under 6, 2 years in a row as a starter at the Division II level. His 1-1 to Rubin popped up, shallow right field, in foul territory. Ethan Anderson circles it, makes the catch. Back-to-back putouts for the All-ACC first baseman, and that's the first out here in this inning. Kern has been fantastic. He's retired 4 in a row since coming into the game.
The shortstop from Notre Dame.
He has been really good, keeping righties off balance, too. I think that's been the most important part. And Steve Englert, he trusts his lefty, who's only pitched twice for him against the middle of the order for Orleans.
He's yet to give up a run for him either. He's pitched over 6 innings, 0 runs given up. Jack Penny, first pitch swinging, weak grounded to short. Camarillo throws and fires in time. Backhanded by Ethan Anderson at first base. That's 2 away, and 5 retired in a row against Kern, and overall 8 retired for Orleans offensively. Dylan, are you seeing anything different after putting up a couple early runs?
I'm seeing a team that is having a lot of quick at-bats. They're not working the pitch count of the pitcher a lot. They're swinging early, just like that. Jack Penny, 1 pitch. Justin Rubin, 2 pitches. They have to continue to work at-bats. They got 4 walks last night from Harwich's pitching staff. So far today, not too many, only 1.
Matt Hallback takes a first pitch strike. The righty faces the lefty Kern. 1 2/3 innings on the mound, and Kern has not allowed a base runner. Hallback has reached twice, a couple good at-bats, 2 singles. Pitch misses outside and gets out of a glove of Arndt behind the plate. 1-1 the count. Base is empty, 2 out, 2-1 Harwich into the top of the 6th inning. Wearing the cream uniforms with the navy blue lettering, the red trim, and the red caps with the blue Harwich logo. A 1-1 is launched on the ground towards second. Rivera slides towards his left, fires to first, and not in time because the throw pulled Ethan Anderson off the bag. It was a heck of an effort from second baseman Daniel Rivera. Slid towards his right, kept the ball in front of him, but his throw was towards the infield. It pulled Anderson away from first, and reaching is Hallback. That goes down as an infield single. Rather an error. First error of the game for either team, and it comes with 2 outs here in the top of the 6th.
Strict grading here. That was a really good play. Rivera made the throw, but just took Anderson a little bit off the bag.
Now Steve Englert, the 20th year manager of the Harwich Mariners, has a quick conversation with the first base umpire, Mike Hinojosa. And that conversation sparks a conversation for the officials. Hinojosa, the first base umpire, as well as the home plate ump, Jeff Kinney, Mickey Garcia at second, Chris Engstrand at third, all talking right in front of the mound. Do you think this is up for debate?
I don't know how they can change it because the first base umpire, Hinojosa, had the best view.
Well, the conversation's over, and the ruling stays the same. Hinojosa waves towards his sides, indicating Hallback is safe at first. He's reached all 3 times today on 2 singles, and now on the E4 from Rivera. Eddie Micheletti Jr., who drove in the one and only run of this game for the Firebirds in the first inning, back at the plate. Curveball misses up and away, and Arndt scares Hallback back to first. 1-0. Micheletti the lefty to face the lefty Kern. Micheletti's reached twice tonight, also got on with a fielder's choice in the 4th. Well, 1-0. Check swing, a strike upstairs, 1-1. A 76-mile-an-hour curveball does the trick for the Division II arm, Kern. Trying to keep his perfect ERA in his first postseason appearance. The 1-1 fouled off. That time the fastball at 88. And Micheletti goes behind 1-2 with a tying run on first. Matt Hallback, who got on with an error, 2-1 Harwich, top 6 from Whitehouse Field in Game 2 of the East Division Semifinals. Kearns 1-2. Swing and a miss. Goes back to the off-speed offering and gets the strikeout of Micheletti on just 4 pitches. 7 batters faced, 6 retired, the only one that reaches on an error. Griffin Kern putting Quincy U on the map and keeping Harwich in the lead 2-1. We go to the bottom of the 6th on the Birds Broadcast Network.
Welcome back to the Birds Broadcast Network. I'm Sammy Miller. The Mariners are currently up 2-1, heading to the bottom of the 6th. The point of emphasis right now in the Birds dugout is all about balancing being aggressive while patient in the box. They want to make sure they're attacking at the plate, but at the same time not being too eager and swinging on balls carelessly. If they wait for their pitch that they like and they take an aggressive swing, then they will be in good shape. Another key for the hitters is after every inning, they communicate with each other about what they saw and the certain tendencies that the pitcher has. This helps out the hitters so they can try to get as much information as possible before they get back into the batter's box. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Sammy. Orleans trying to strike back at some point in this game. Took the 1-0 lead on the top of the first, have not scored since. Meanwhile, Harwich put up 2 runs in the bottom of the 3rd to take the lead they have right now, 2-1. Harwich trying to even this series up at 1 game apiece and force a Game 3 tomorrow at Eldridge Park. Game 3 has been forced on the other side of the East Division. YD took down Brewster 3-1 on the road at Stony Brook Field. Game 3 at Red Wilson to be played tomorrow to decide one of the seats in the East Division final. Ivan Romero back on the mound, 72 pitches in for his 6th inning of work. He faces 4, 5, and 6. It starts with Devin Obie, who checks his swing, but goes around and falls behind 0-1.
Romero was good again in the 5th. 3 outs, 4 batters. Keister got him for a single. Has to continue on here. Firebirds bullpen that's rested and warming. Jaden Winter warming, the right-handed pitcher out of Eastern Carolina.
The 1-1. Breaking ball, chopped foul, left field side, 1-2. Jaden Winter started on Tuesday in his first appearance for Orleans. Started the summer in the Cal Ripken League and pitched 2 strong innings against the Red Sox. The 1-2 breaking ball just gets a piece of it as Obie. He's still behind 1-2. It's been tough sledding for Obie, who before the game was named the Mariners' MVP this season. He's 0 for 2 today, and on the season he's on an 0 for 14 slump. Fastball upstairs, check swing, held it behind the plate this time around, says Mike Hinojosa for ball 2.
A good fastball by Romero that just missed the top of the zone.
The 2-2. Breaking ball inside, and it misses for ball 3. And Obie has worked the count full. A good pitch up and in from Romero, but just doesn't get the call from Kinney. 2-1 Harwich, bottom of the 6th, for the 3-2 pitch. Popped up, high in the air, right field. Ranging towards his left is Fenwick Trimble. He makes the catch with ease towards his nose. On the full count offering, Obie battles with Romero. Romero wins. And Obie now 0 for 3 on the day, and that slump extends to an 0 for 15 stretch for the Duke outfielder.
You can't say enough about Ivan Romero, how much he's fought through to get to this point, and especially fought through this season with the Firebirds, giving now 16 outs in a playoff game and continuing on. He might be batter to batter with the Firebirds in terms of him staying in the game or getting taken out, but he's been pitching really well.
His first pitch to Brian Arndt misses low, 1-0 with the fastball. Another righty to face the right-hander Romero. The base is empty and 1 out. He's been so good not only for the Firebirds, but especially against Harwich. The 1-0 pitch fouled right in front of Carpellotti. It dribbles just in front of home plate. 1-1. Romero is here on the 13th of July, pitched 4 scoreless, hitless frames. Orleans had a no-hitter going into the bottom of the 9th, broken up by the guy who just flew out to right, Devin Obie. 5 1/3, a 1-run ball here today. The 1-1, breaking ball, chopped foul again. It dribbles near the first base side, and going behind 1-2 is Arndt. 0 for 2 on the day with a couple flyouts.
Romero is truly keeping these Harwich hitters guessing. A With all 5 of his pitches, they seem uncomfortable in the box.
The 1-2 offering is certainly an uncomfortable feeling for Brian Arndt. He swings and misses. That's strikeout number 6 for Ivan Romero in just under 6 innings on the mound, a season-high number.
And he goes with the fastball, speeds up Arndt after a few off-speed pitches. Romero looks locked in here in the 6th.
Bases empty, 2 away. Breaking ball in for a strike from Romero, who sits at just over 80 pitches. Elijah Lambros, the right-handed right fielder, falls behind 0-1. He struck out twice tonight. The 0-1 above his helmet. He takes it for ball 1. Both times he struck out, he's gone down looking. Romero ended Orleans' season last summer as YD starter in the first round. His 1-1 skips in the dirt for ball 2. Pitched 5 2/3 for Scott Pickler's team of one-run baseball, trying to do the same, but for the Firebirds this time around, trying to end Harwich's season from Whitehouse Field. The 2-1, fastball misses low, gets by the glove of Carpellotti behind the plate. 3-1, Lambros gets ahead, trying to extend his 9-game on-base streak. Nobody on, 2 out, 2-1 Harwich in the bottom of the 6th inning. Neither team has scored since the bottom of the 3rd. A deep breath taken. 3-1 on the way. And a launch to left, but foul. Just near the far side of the Harwich dugout on the left side of the field. Full count. 6 shutout frames from Romero in his last start on the 30th of July against Hyannis. Nearly 6 frames of 1-run ball. His payoff pitch is launched towards left on a couple hops. Fielded by Stallman. He fires to first and gets the out. 6 frames in his last start, 6 frames in another really big game for Orleans. Ivan Romero, who ended the Firebirds season last summer, trying to push the Birds closer and closer in postseason play this summer. But his team still trails by 1 after 6. It's 2-1 Harwich. We go to the top of the 7th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Six, 7, and 8 due up for the Firebirds in the top of the 7th. Thanks so much for joining us on the Birds Broadcast Network. Ian Nicholas, Dylan Pescatore on the call. Orleans trails a run, 2-1. On the mound, Griffin Kern, the left-handed pitcher, out for his 3rd inning in a row, Dylan, and he's been really good. Faces the right-handed Eddie King Jr. here. His first pitch misses low, 1-0.
He's been incredible. On all reality, he's truly almost gotten 7 outs in 2 innings because the other hit should have been an out. It was an error by Daniel Rivera, the second baseman.
Chopper over to short. Camarillo fields it on a couple hops. Is tossed to first in time to retire the speedy EKJ. 0 for 3 on the game is the Louisville product. A strikeout, a flyout, now a ground out, and another out recorded by Kern on the mound.
He's getting the Firebirds to just ground him into the dirt. Orleans' at-bats today have not been as good as they were yesterday, where they were drawing out a lot of 3-2 full counts and putting pressure on pitchers. Today, it's been a lot of early swings.
Brandon Stallman, the lefty, to face the left-handed arm. He takes a strike. Low and away with the fastball. It gets the call, and it's 0-1. Stallman on the game, 0 for 2. He's struck out and flown out. The 0-1 pitch jams him up for a ball. 1-1.
And no action in the Harwich bullpen. Why would there be? Curran looks amazing right now.
From Quincy University, a D2 school. The 1-1 breaking ball on the outer half for a strike. A really nice spot from Kern, who continues to work quickly and get out after out for Harwich, trying to protect a 1-run lead in the top of the 7th. Bases clear, one away. The 1-2 is swung on. A high chopper to first. Anderson fields. Underhand toss to the pitcher, Kern, who covers the bag and does not get the out. Brandon Stallman, who not necessarily known for his elite speed, beats it out for an infield single.
Great hustle by Stallman to get down the line. That's how these things start in the playoffs. You find a way. Anderson probably should have taken it himself to first base. He waited for the pitcher, and Kern didn't get there in time. Let's see if the Firebirds can make something out of this.
5th hit of the game for the Firebirds, the first since Kern came to the mound. You'd have to go all the way back to Matt Hallback's single in the 4th inning. Owen Carpellotti, first pitch swinging, dropping into center field right in front of Obi. He bobbles it, collects it. There's no play to make. Back-to-back hits for the Firebirds. Put runners on first and second with one out. Moving to second is Stallman, and Carpellotti now on first.
What a swing by Carpellotti. One of his best in the last few weeks. Puts it right back up the middle in front of Obi. And good base running by Stallman. He had to wait right between first and second, see it drop, and then run to second and get there safely. Runner in scoring position for Orleans.
Carpellotti has now reached in 6 of his last 7 games. As Fenwick Trimble, the bottom man in the order, swings at the first pitch and fouls it high above the backstop. Goes behind 0-1.
This is the first time the Firebirds have had a runner in scoring position since that first inning, Ian.
That inning ended with 1 run scored. Eddie Micheletti Jr. drove in Jack Penny. 2 runners on, 1 out. The pitch misses outside at 88 miles an hour from Kern. 1-1 the count to Trimble, who's 0 for 2. Flew out to center in the second. Struck out in the 5th against Kern. The tying run on second, Stallman. The go-ahead run on first, Carpellotti. The 1-1. Taken for a ball. Another miss outside, this time with the 82-mile-an-hour offering. Kern falls behind 2-1.
Kern is attacking outside to righties. This time it's Trimble with the soft stuff. He's hoping he pulls it to third base and is early on it.
Trimble with 2 hits this season against Harwich in 2 games played. Looking for 1 more in his 3rd. He takes the 3rd ball in the count. A 3rd straight miss on the outer half from Kern, who falls behind even farther, 3-1. First and second, 1 out. 2-1 Harwich, top 7. The 3-1 pitch is fouled away. Just missed from Trimble. High in the zone, he swung at it. Stays alive. The count now full. Trimble hitting right around 200 this summer for Orleans, his first playoff action. The payoff pitch is lined to straightaway center field. Obi is under it. He makes the catch, and the runners stay where they are. Stallman at second. Carpellotti at first. That's out number 2.
Really good at-bat by Fenwick Trimble, and once again, he hits the ball hard. A slider that came right down the middle. He puts it right into the glove of Obi, though, in center field. Another unlucky break for Orleans today.
Joe Oyama, he's been a little unlucky as of late. Last time he came up, a line out at over 95 miles an hour off the bat, straight into the glove of Ethan Anderson at first. The first pitch he sees, misses upstairs with the fastball. 1-0, lefty on lefty battle. Stallman, the tying run on second. He had an infield single. Owen Carpellotti single to center field. He's the go-ahead run on first. Kern's 1-0 pitch. On the ground towards Rivera at second. He fields it cleanly and tosses to first. And it's not a great throw, but it doesn't matter. Anderson stays on the bag and ends the inning. Rivera, his throw was towards the outfield side of first base, and Anderson was able to not only hit the dirt, but keep his lower half on the bag and record the out. 2 base runners stranded for Orleans, a couple one-out singles. Firebirds walk away empty and still trail 2-1 as we stretch from Whitehouse Field and go to the bottom of the 7th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Back on the Birds Broadcast Network in the bottom of the 7th from Whitehouse Field. Mariners lead the Firebirds 2-1 in Game 2 of the East Division Semifinals. Dylan Ivan Romero, 6 really great innings on the mound. Back-to-back brilliant starts from the University of San Diego man.
He was everything the Firebirds could have wanted today. 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs allowed, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts as well. Romero has kept his team not only in the game, but has given them a chance to win it. They almost got the lead in the 7th, but couldn't drive runners home.
New pitcher on the mound, making his second appearance for the Firebirds in the last week. This time out of a bullpen, it's the 6'5", 225-pound right-handed hurler from East Carolina, originally by way of North Carolina, where he is from, Jaden Winter. Dylan Winter made his debut in the Cape Cod Baseball League on the 1st of a month in an 11-4 road win against YD. Only pitched 2 innings. He opened that game, but he was really solid.
He was amazing, and he threw 95 as well against, like you said, his debut against a really top-tier lineup in YD, facing Braden Montgomery, facing Hunter Hines, a lot of those big bats that he did face on Tuesday in a big game for the Firebirds as well. It allowed them, for at the time, to take first place. He was good, 2 innings and a strikeout as well. We'll see how he does out of the bullpen. He was out of the bullpen at Eastern Carolina this past year.
Only his second year with East Carolina. Suffered an injury late in his high school career, which caused him to redshirt as a freshman at ECU. And as a sophomore, only pitched 10 innings, but came to Orleans after a really good summer in the Cal Ripken League. He faces the bottom of the order. It starts with Cam Leary. The righty deals to the lefty, and his fastball misses low and in. Leary nearly got hit by the pitch. He had to scoot out of the way and take ball 1.
When Winter is on, he's throwing strikes, and what can get him? It's the walks. Can he control the fastball that sits right there in the middle of the 90s?
The 1-0 pitch misses high, goes to the fastball again. Back-to-back 94-mile-an-hour fastballs. One misses low and in, the other misses upstairs, and Winter goes behind 2-0 on the BC Eagle. Winter kick steals the 2-0. Fastball fouled away. 2-1. Leary 0 for 1 on the game with a walk. He also lined out to center field in the second inning. You mentioned walks, an issue for Jaden Winter in the spring. He walked 7 batters in 10 innings on the mound. 2 balls and a strike. He deals. This pitch is popped up towards the left side of the infield, foul territory, towards the Harwich dugout and out of play. Both third baseman Brandon Stallman and catcher Owen Carpellotti gave it a ride. 2-2 in the count.
That's a sneaky sign to tell how much these guys really care about this team, both putting, their bodies on the line, going all the way over to the fence, giving it their full bore, 100% effort on every single pitch.
The Firebirds do not want to go home here in the playoffs. The 2-2. Inside, strike 3 called. A backwards K for Jaden Winter. Cam Leary goes down looking. First out of the inning, the base is still empty. Harwich still leads 2-1 in the bottom of the 7th.
And a really good fastball by Winter on the inside corner. Right in at 94. He does it again.
Now he faces Talmadge LeCroy, the right-handed designated hitter. Gives him a breaking ball, which misses outside. 1-0. LeCroy 0 for 1. He struck out in the 4th, but also walked to lead off the 3rd. Just finished up his sophomore season at South Carolina. The 1-0 pitch. A couple Carolina guys going at it. In for a strike with the fastball, 1-1. Winter started his summer with the only crop dusters in the Cal Ripken League, located in Maryland, and he was really good. The 1-1 pitch. Fastball gets away from Carpellotti and misses low for ball 2. He dials it up to 95 miles an hour. With the crop dusters earlier this summer, a 3 ERA for Winter in 17 2/3 innings pitched with 20 strikeouts and only 3 walks. He was a Cal Ripken League All-Star. The 2-1. Fastball is popped foul and out of play towards the right side of the park. 2-2. Fastball heavy is Winter right now, and why not? Because he throws it in the mid-90s.
It's a lot of speed. You go from Ivan Romero, who was hitting 90 to 91, to now 94, 95 from Winter. A huge change for these Harwich hitters.
Nobody on, 1 out. An even count for Lee Croy. And on the 2-2, he pops it in the right, and drifting towards his right is Fenwick Trimble. He makes the play on the move for out number 2. That's now 6 in a row retired for Harwich. 4 from Ivan Romero in the 5th and 6th, and now 2 in a row with the new man on the mound, Jaden Winter, in the bottom of the 7th.
That's all Winter has to do. Continue to throw strikes, 'cause it's really hard to hit his nasty stuff. But it can get a little bit too nasty. That's when he can get in trouble, putting it out of the zone. But throwing strikes is where Winter is at his best.
Here's the bottom man in the order, second baseman Daniel Rivera. Another righty. Swings at the first pitch and puts it out of play behind the dish. 0-1. Rivera 1 for 2, singled in the 3rd, flew out to right in the 5th. Bases clear, 2 away. The 0-1 pitch from Winter. Off speed and outside. Ball 1, the count even. To the bottom man in the order. Mariners ahead 2-1 in the bottom of his 7th, trying to even the series at 1 apiece in the East Division Semifinals. Winter, the 1-1 offering, is up in the air towards the right side of the field. Foul territory, Matt Hallback circles it in front of his own dugout and makes the catch above his head for out number 3. 1-2-3 goes Jaden Winter. That is back-to-back 1-2-3 innings for the Orleans pitching staff. Winter picking up right where Romero left off in the 6th with a scoreless 7th, but Orleans needs runs. Down 2-1. We go to the top of the 8th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Back on the Birds Broadcast Network in the top of the 8th. Thanks so much for joining us from Whitehouse Field, where the Mariners lead 2-1. 2, 3, and 4 up for the Birds. It starts with the DH, Justin Rubin. Still on the mound for inning number 4 is Griffin Kern. Kern, the left-handed arm from Quincy University in Illinois, faces the right-handed bat, Rubin, who's 0 for 3. First pitch he sees, a breaking ball that clips the lower third of the zone for strike 1. 0-1. Calling the balls and strikes behind the dish, Jeff Kinney. He was at first base last night. 0-2. Foul ball from Rubin out of play. A couple kids chase after it. Rubin had the game-tying RBI single of the 9th inning last night, trying to tie the game here in the 8th. Takes a pitch outside for a ball, behind 1-2. Matthew Boynton currently getting warm, the right-handed pitcher from Murray State in the bullpen along the left side of the field for Harwich. He pitched on Monday in the 2-1 loss. The 1-2 pitch misses upstairs, and Rubin evens the count 2-2. Dax Daith also getting hot, the senior from Angelo State. 2 right-handed arms. Trying to go 4 innings of shutout ball is Kern. His 2-2 pitch misses low with the curveball. And the count now full. Rubin, a great at-bat. That's what he usually provides, Dylan. He started behind 0-2.
He does, and he's going to continue not to chase. He is not one to expand the zone. Trying to put a good swing on one here.
He has reached in 17 of 18 games with the Firebirds. 5 for 11 headed into tonight against this team, and he walks. A high miss from Kern on the full count. This Firebirds team desperately needed a leadoff runner aboard. Had not put a leadoff man on since Matt Hallback reached with a single in the 4th. Ruben does a trick with a walk in the 8th, and it brings up Jack Penny. But before that, a mound visit for Harwich.
We'll see how they want to deal this with Kern, because the lefty, the next batter up, Jack Penny, is a lefty. I'm not sure how they're going to deal with him. Penny did ground out against Kern back in the 6th inning. Now a leadoff runner on here for the Firebirds. That's huge. It's the first time they had it since the 4th inning when Matt Hallback singled. Didn't do anything with that. Ruben has a lot of speed. Could steal if possible against Brian Arndt, who's a really good arm as well. But yesterday, Ian, he did make an error.
It was not the cleanest of days for Arndt. Behind the dish it was for the UNC Wilmington Seahawk, but he did make that errant throw that allowed Eddie King to move over to third. Ultimately did not cost Harwich in the 7th inning. R.J. Thomas made the mound visit, the pitching coach, not Steve Engler. So just a talking to that was eventually broken up by Jeff Kinney, the home plate umpire. Hopefully Kern heard what he had to hear. A leadoff base runner aboard. Jack Penny, the first pitch he sees, it misses low with the curveball, 1-0. Penny on the game, 0 for 2, grounded into a double play in the 3rd, had another ground out in the 6th, walked to start this game and score the lone run of the game on an Eddie Micheletti single. The 1-0 launched high in the sky in the left center field gap at the wall, making the play. Good snag from Cam Leary. Another good piece of hitting, 96 miles an hour off the bat from the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. It goes 351 feet in the air, but it's a fly out. First out of the inning, Justin Rubin still on first. Harwich still in front, 2-1, top 8.
First baseman from UC
Ball was
San Diego,
smoked by
number
Penny
31,
in the left center,
Alex
but
Alba.
Cam Leary was playing in the right spot, left center. The left fielder makes the catch. Just another unlucky result for Orleans tonight.
Some ACC on ACC crime. Matt Hallback, the righty at the plate. He takes a ball high as Kern misses with the fastball, 1-0. Hallback owns 2 of the Firebirds' 6 hits on the game. Singles in the 1st and 4th. Also got on with an error from second baseman Daniel Rivera in the 6th. Has not scored. A ball and no strikes. Here's the pitch. Popped up to right along the line and out of play. 1-1.
I know these are the middle of the bats for Orleans, but 2 stolen bases on the summer for Rubin. Has a lot of speed. Maybe consider sending him, getting him into scoring position.
The Firebirds, the second fewest stolen bases in the league this summer. 1 on, 1 out, the 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball that is swung through and missed by the San Diego man, the UC San Diego man, Matt Hallback. He goes behind 1-2 with Eddie Micheletti Jr. on deck, who drove in the lone run of this game. Kern, the 1-2 offering. Popped up, right field side. Anderson drifting towards Orleans' dugout. It's out of play. It bounces in front of a ton of fans from Whitehouse Field. The count's still 1-2 to Hallback, who's got a hit in 13 of his last 15 games. Headed into tonight. Now it's 14 of his last 16. Top 5 in the league in batting average on the year. Can he come up in a big spot? Kelly Nicholson calls for time. He wants to talk with home plate umpire Jeff Kinney. In between pitches, the 18th year manager of the Firebirds trying to get Orleans back to the East Division Finals for the first time since 2017. Could do so with a win tonight. Kelly Nicholson's not happy.
I think he's, and I'm trying to read lips here, that Kern is balking. And Kelly Nicholson said every time he's not coming set, or his left leg, or his front leg, I should say, as a lefty, has to come toward home plate and not toward first base. That's how you determine a pickoff throw versus a throw back to the, or a pitch, I should say. So that's what he's talking about, balking on the mound in Kern.
Somebody who knows pitching, Kelly Nicholson. His 22nd year with the Firebirds, his first 4 years, he was the pitching coach, a former pitcher and pitching coach at Loyola Marymount out in California. 1 on, 1 out, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Kern deals, miss low, ball 2. Count even 2-2 to the right-handed Matt Hallback. The tying run on first, Justin Rubin, who led this inning on with a walk. The go-ahead run at the plate. 2-1 Harwich, top of the 8th. No warning issued out by Kinney to Kern after the conversation with Nicholson. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Launched to left field, down for a hit. That ball drifting towards the line. Rubin stays at second. Hallback, his 3rd hit of the game. He's on first in the go-ahead run on board.
What a hit by Matt Hallback. Smokes it off the bat into left field after a really good at-bat against the pitcher, Kern. Now a similar situation for Micheletti. This is what happened in the first inning, and he came through.
Hallback comes through, reaching for the 4th time in a row. Eddie Micheletti Jr. with a chance, like you said, to drive in his 2nd run of the game. Rubin on second. The first pitch to him is chopped foul down the first base side. 0-1. Rubin, the tying run on second. He walked. Hallback on first after his single through the 5-6 hole. The go-ahead run for an Orleans team down 2-1 in the top of the 8th. Kern the 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball, which is chopped fair, and Anderson can't glove it at first. Rubin gets the wave at third. The throw cut off, and not in time. Rubin scores. Orleans has tied the game at 2. It's another RBI for Eddie Micheletti Jr. And an opportunity to do even more. Runners on the corners with 1 out for Eddie King Jr. Hallback at third. Micheletti Jr. at first. He's driven in his 2nd run of the game to tie it at 2 in the top of the 8th.
Another good swing by Micheletti. Probably a ball Anderson should have. Didn't get in front of. Firebirds tie the game. Now they have a chance to take the lead.
Eddie King Jr., he's driven in some of the most runs in the league since the month of July. He'll get the opportunity to potentially drive in the go-ahead run when we come right back. Steve Englert, the 20th-year manager of Harwich, makes his way out to the mound and takes the ball from Griffin Kern. He leaves 2 runners on and 1 out in a tied game at 2 apiece in the top of the 8th. We'll be right back on the Birds Broadcast Network. From one Division II arm to another, Griffin Kern out, and in is Dax Daith, a Texas native who pitched at Texas Tech in the spring, but is transferring to Division II Angelo State this next year. He throws unbelievably hard. 5 strikeouts in his last appearance, and 3 2/3 on the mound against Fachada Mays on July 30th. Runners on the corners, 1 out. The righty faces the right-handed Eddie King Jr., who shows bunt, pulls it away, and takes a ball 1-0. Ethan Anderson came rolling in from first, expecting the bunt from King Jr. Eddie Micheletti Jr., he's on first. He just drove in the tying run with a single that scored Justin Rubin. Matt Hallback, who also singled, he's on third, the go-ahead run. Infield is in. The 1-0 pitch, shown bunt again, pulled back once more. Eddie King Jr. gets ahead, 2 balls, no strikes.
If King lays down a bunt here to the first base side, Anderson's rushing home. Hallback's not stealing here. This is a safety squeeze. If he even wants to come home, runner to second would be Micheletti.
0 for 3 today is King Jr. Dave looks at third, now to the mound. The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss. There is the high velocity from Dave. Dials it up to 95 with the high cheese for strike one. King still ahead 2-1. Hallback on third. Micheletti on first. 2-2 in the top of the 8th. Dave the 2-1. King Jr. pops it over the backstop for strike 2. Count is even.
And if you're King here with 2 strikes, you're choking up on the bat, you're expecting fastball. A ball in play with the velocity of 94 coming in. Coming out will be fast as well. If King can get it through the infield, would be big.
Tied at 2, top 8. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Dave lets it fly. Breaking ball is fouled away and once again over the backstop. Arndt gave it a look. No chase. Still 2-2. Eddie King Jr., a big at-bat last night in the 9th inning against Harwich. A leadoff walk. He scored the game-tying run on an infield single from Justin Rubin. Runners on the corners, 1 out. A 2-2 game in the top of the 8th. Dave takes a deep breath and lets it fly on the 2-2, which misses high. Arndt pops up and scares Micheletti Jr. back to first. The count is full. The fastball at 94 misses high for Dave. A full count to King Jr., who has no problem walking. Top 10 in the league in walks this season. Payoff on the way home. Popped up foul over the backstop. A good at-bat from the Illinois native, who has been one of the best bats in this Firebirds lineup as of late. But only 3 for 22 this summer against Harwich headed into the night. 0 for 3, make him 3 for 25. He's played in all 7 games against the Mariners. Another full count pitch. And another foul ball. Over the backstop it goes. Once more, the 81-mile-an-hour pitch spoiled from the new pitcher in the game, Dax Daith. This is the first batter he has faced. The 7th pitch upcoming. Runners on the corners, 1 out. The go-ahead run 90 feet away, Matt Hallback. Tied at 2 in the top of the 8th. A third full count pitch. And another foul ball. Reminds you of the Brandon Stallman at bat in the 9th inning last night against Sean Hard. That at bat lasted 9 pitches. That was a 95-mile-an-hour fastball that Eddie King gets a piece of. In the top of the 8th, tied at 2. Here's the pitch. And it's launched to right field. Right center, Devin Obie hustling for it, and it is caught at the wall. Matt Hallback, he's going to jog home and score the game-leading run. A sac fly on a 356-foot fly ball from Eddie King Jr. to right field. And Orleans takes the lead. It's first since the first inning, all the way here in the top of the 8th. What a great effort in right field from Elijah Lambros. That's the second out of the inning. Micheletti Jr. is still on first, and now Brandon Stallman at the plate. That run's going to go against the pitcher, Griffin Kern. Dave did everything he could to keep Matt Hallback at third, but Eddie King Jr. wasn't going down without a fight. He goes down with an RBI on the sac fly. No balls in his strike to Stallman, the lefty, against the righty Dave, who deals. And upstairs, the fastball gets the strike. A check swing from Stallman that he let get in front of home plate. He goes behind 0-2. 3-2 Orleans. Eddie King Jr., a sac fly. Well hit to right field to take the lead in the top of the 8th. Matt Hallback scored. Dave, the 0-2 offering. It misses in the dirt, blocked up by Arndt, who continues to put on a masterclass behind the dish. 1-2.
Last night we talked about Stallman's at bat in the 9th. The score holds. We'll be talking about Eddie King Jr.'s at bat right there. 9-pitch sac fly.
Stallman looking for another good at bat behind 1-2. He takes a ball. Daith misses low and in for ball 2. The Texas native began his collegiate career at Grayson College, which is a JUCO in the Lone Star State. Spent 2 years there, had a sub-4 ERA as a reliever in each of his first 2 seasons with the Vikings. Transferred to Texas Tech in the spring, only pitched in 3 innings. Runner on first is Micheletti Jr. 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes. The pitch upstairs, ball 3. The 94-mile-an-hour fastball doesn't get the call from Jeff Kinney behind the plate. The lone runner, Eddie Micheletti, will go. He reached on an RBI single that tied this game, and the next batter up, Eddie King Jr. against the new pitcher Dax Daith, helped Orleans take the lead with a sac fly. The payoff. Low, ball 4. Brandon Stallman with a great at bat late in yesterday's game. Another one here in the 8th against Harwich once again. Runners on first and second with 2 out, and Steve Englert makes his way to the mound to make his second pitching change of the inning. Dax Daith records 1 out, and that out had a run attached to it. Eddie King Jr. scores on a sac fly. Daith then walks the next man up, Brandon Stallman, and another arm is going to try to get out of this mess for Harwich, who's now fallen behind a run in the top of the 8th. Orleans leads 3-2, and we'll be right back on the Birds Broadcast Network. Back on the Birds Broadcast Network in the top of the 8th inning. Thanks so much for joining us from Whitehouse Field. Orleans the lead, 3-2. And we took a quick break because of a third different pitching change for Steve Englert's Mariners team. The inning started with Griffin Kern, who allowed 2 base runners on with 1 out. One of those base runners, Matt Hallback, scores on a sac fly from Eddie King Jr. against Dax Daith. Daith only faced 2 batters after giving up the sac fly to King Jr. Brandon Stallman walked. He's on first. The runner on second is now Colin Tuft. He is pinch running for Eddie Micheletti Jr., who hit the game-tying RBI single, which scored Justin Rubin earlier on in the frame. Tuft, very good speed, 5 stolen bases on the year. Now batting is Owen Carpellotti, the left-handed catcher, against the right-handed Matthew Boynton. He's the new arm in the game. First pitch swinging, Carpellotti pops one up, shallow left field, and it is snagged by Cam Leary right above his head for out number 3. Matthew Boynton, who gave up the walk-off single to Jake Casey on Monday against Orleans, gets revenge at least for now, records 1 out on 1 pitch, and leaves 2 base runners stranded for the Birds in the top of the 8th. Harwich tries to respond after falling behind 3-2 in the bottom of the 8th right here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Orleans scores 2 runs in the top of the 8th to take the 3-2 lead in Game 2 of the East Division Semifinals. An RBI single from Eddie Micheletti Jr. and a sac fly from Eddie King Jr. Speaking of the former, Eddie Micheletti Jr., he was pinch ran for by Colin Tuft last inning. Owen Carpellotti popped out on 1 pitch, so you didn't really get to see much base running from Colin Tuft. Colin Tuft replacing Micheletti in left field. Jaden Winter still on the mound for Orleans. The right-handed pitcher's first pitch to Ali Camarillo is fouled down the right field line, 0-1. Dylan Sean Madsen getting warm in the bullpen for Orleans, the Cape League's reliever of the year, but you like the decision to keep the ball in the hands of Winter for a second inning.
I do, because you're facing the top of the order, and usually you'd go to your closer. Madsen hasn't thrown in 3 days as well. You have to keep that in mind. And Jaden Winter has been really good, a 1-2-3 inning in the 7th. And now he starts against the top of the order. Now, if any trouble arises, then you go straight to Madsen. But to start the inning, maybe steal a few outs with Jaden Winter.
Jaden Winter, his second appearance for the Firebirds and his first out of a bullpen. The 1-1 to Camarillo is popped up foul over the netting, 1-2. Camarillo, just like Winter, has also been really good. Today, somewhat quiet, 0-for-2, laid down a big sac bunt in the 3rd inning. But headed into the game was in a 6-game on-base streak. Was 9 for his last 26 with 2 home runs, both of them against the Firebirds on Monday and yesterday. Both Harwich losses. A ball and 2 strikes. Winter lets it fly. Crack towards Stallman, a line out. He makes a catch. His glove right on the infield dirt for out number 1. 80 miles an hour off the bat. It looped right to the third baseman, Brandon Stallman, for the first out of the bottom of the 8th.
And Camarillo out in front with the off-speed slider. And Stallman makes a good catch right in front of the dirt, like you said, right at his feet.
Here comes Kevin Keister, who's been the best bat arguably in this lineup tonight. The Maryland Terrapin 2 for 3. Chase Loomis also warming in the bullpen for Orleans. Keister 2 for 3 on the game. Also drove in a run with a sac fly in the 3rd inning. Bases clear, 1 out. Winter, the 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss. 0-2, 95 miles an hour. He says, you can't keep up with my fastball. He gets ahead 0-2. Still waiting for the sign from Carpellotti behind the plate. No balls, 2 strikes. The pitch is popped up in the middle of the infield to Jack Penny at short. He makes the catch at his left shoulder for out number 2. Some only crop duster on only crop duster crime. Keister spent 2022 with the crop dusters, but the all-star with only in 2023. On the mound, Winter gets the out here in the 8th inning. His second of the frame, his 5th in a row. Nobody on, 2 out, 3-2. Orleans in front in the bottom of the 8th. Ethan Anderson at the plate. The switch hitter bats lefty once more against the righty Winter. The first pitch he sees, fouled off to the left side of Whitehouse Field, 0-1.
Winter has been so good. He's firing the fastball, 94-95, making it look easy. Anderson, not an easy test here.
Hit just under 380 with Virginia in the spring. The 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss. He goes off speed, low and away. 0-2. Nobody on, 2 out, no balls, 2 strikes. 3-2 Orleans, bottom of the 8th. Winter lets it rip, and it's launched into the glove of Matt Holback. A line drive at first base. Matt Holback lunges towards his right, backhands a line drive, 83 miles an hour off the bat from Ethan Anderson. Winter 6 up, 6 down in the last 2 innings, and Orleans still leads 3-2 after 8. Anderson caught a line drive at Joe Oyama earlier in this game. Matt Holback says, Joe, I've got you. After 8, Orleans has the lead. We go to the top of the 9th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Back on the Birds Broadcast Network in the top of the 9th. The bottom of the 8th ends with a line out to the first baseman, Matt Hallback, off the bat of Ethan Anderson. Anderson's high school teammate from Cox High School in Virginia, Fenwick Trimble, comes to the plate, leading off for Orleans. In the top of the 9th, the pitcher is still Matthew Boynton after he recorded the final out of the 8th inning. The righty faces the righty. His first pitch misses low with the fastball. 1-0. Trimble on the game, 0 for 3, a pair of flyouts to center field, wedged in between a strikeout in the 5th. Trimble just 7 for his last 50 from the plate. The 1-0 pitch. Misses outside. He gets ahead 2-0. Boynton from Murray State, his 4th appearance out of a bullpen this summer for Steve Englert. His last on Monday against Orleans, gave up the walk-off single to Jake Casey. The 2-0 breaking ball is smacked down the left field side and gloved by hitting coach and third base coach Max Vesky. 2-1. Trimble still ahead. Orleans trying to add some insurance to a 3-2 lead. Scored 2 runs last inning off a single from Micheletti Jr. and a sac fly from King Jr. The 2-1 offering. Trimble launches it towards Anderson at first. It gets by his glove and rolls to right. The high school teammates from a few years back at Cox High School. Trimble gets the better of Anderson. And that one rolls into the outfield for what they're going to say is a hit. Rather, an error from Ethan Anderson. Made an error in last night's game. Makes one more here tonight. 2 errors on the game for Harwich. One from Daniel Rivera, second one from Anderson. Joe Oyama back to the top of the order.
Another hard hit ball. That's what Trimble's going to bring, and he does. This time it gets under the glove of Anderson and into shallow right field. Big base runner here in the 9th for the Firebirds.
Joe Oyama, the lefty, looks to bunt, pulls it away, but the ball gets by Brian Arndt, and Fenwick Trimble takes second. Oyama goes ahead 1-0. He pulled back the bunt. That pitch missed low from Boynton.
Wild pitch to allow the Firebirds to get someone in scoring position. Does Oyama continue on with the bunt to get him over to third?
Oyama, 1 for 3 on the game, singled in the 3rd inning. 4 hits in his last 5. Takes a pitch on the inside corner. The 92-mile-an-hour fastball from the Tallahassee, Florida native. Boynton misses for ball 2. Trimble on second after he reached on an error from his high school teammate Ethan Anderson and then slid to second on a pass ball from Brian Arndt. The 2-0 offering. Breaking ball high, ball 3. Oyama ahead 3-0. Trying to add on to a 3-2 Orleans lead in the top of the 9th. In Game 2 of the East Division Semifinals, the Birds with a win would get to the East Division Championship. Boynton steps off a rubber and soft tosses one over to Ali Camarillo at short, trying to keep Fenwick Trimble close to the bag. Trimble 4 for 4 on stolen base attempts this summer. He's got good speed. Oyama, an MVP finalist, ahead 3-0 in the count. He takes his strike. Breaking ball outside from Boynton. Still behind 3-1. This summer, Boynton, in 4 innings pitched, has allowed 4 earned runs, including 3 in a 7-5 loss to Bourne on July 25th. He misses low on the 3-1 pitch for ball 4. Oyama gets on for the 2nd time today. Back-to-back base runners reach against Boynton to start this inning. One off an error, another off a walk. And Justin Rubin trying to deliver maybe a potential dagger in the top of the 9th. Cole Rowland, Wake Forest closer, who pitched in the 9th inning last night, a 2-1 walk-off loss for Harwich. He's getting warm in the bullpen. Here's the pitch from Boynton. Breaking ball for a strike. Rubin showed bunt, pulled it away, but still goes behind 0-1.
Remember, Ian, Justin Rubin in the 3rd inning, he bunted, but he bunted it foul and into the glove of Brian Arndt, the catcher. Can he get some revenge here and get it down for the Birds?
He shows bunt behind 0-1. The pitch on the way. The bunt laid down. It pops up. Barehanded, caught by Arndt. He throws, but they say that ball was in the field of play. so unable to be caught. Rather fouled off of Ruben. So that's 0-2 in the count. That ball was not in play for Arndt to snag and to steal another bunt attempt from the Philadelphia native Ruben. He's behind 0-2. First and second, nobody out. Trimble on second, Oyama on first. The pitch misses outside. No. A strike 3 call. Ruben goes down on 3 pitches. And that's the first strikeout for Matthew Boynton and the first out of the inning.
Number 11, Jack Penny.
It's not what you wanted if you're the Firebirds to strike out there. You wanted to move the runners over, but you flushed that.
Steve Englert, another mound visit, another pitching change. Boynton gets the first out of the frame. Justin Rubin, who strikes out very rarely, goes down looking. Cole Rowland, the Wake Forest closer, gets the call to close it out for Harwich for the second night in a row. Last night came into a terrible situation with the bases loaded and nobody out, and nearly got out of it, trying to keep his team within a run in the top of the ninth. We'll be right back after a pitching change on the Birds Broadcast Network. With Wild Thing playing in the background from Whitehouse Field. The Wild Thing on the mound, Cole Rowland. 72 strikeouts in 50 innings pitched in the spring as the closer for one of the best teams in the country, the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. He gets the call from Steve Englert with runners on first and second and 1 out, facing the same batter who drove in the game-winning run last night against him. Jack Penny. Single to right field. Orleans with the walk-off win at Eldridge should take game 1 of this playoff series 2-1. Penny comes up with runners on first and second and 1 away. Rowland on the mound. The righty Rowland and the lefty Penny. His first pitch is launched to right again. Deja vu. Penny gets it down. Trimble gets the wave home. The throw cut off by Rowland. No throw to the plate. Jack Penny cannot stop. 4-2 Orleans in the top of the ninth.
In the same pitch, the same place. Walk-off last night. Another RBI single here in the top of the ninth to give the Firebirds some breathing room. Jack Penny just owns Cole Rowland right now.
79 miles an hour on the inside part of the plate. An ACC on ACC battle. 1 on 1 pitch. Rowland balks. We said he can somewhat get out of control on the mound, and after giving up a run to make it a 2-run game in the top of the ninth, the runners slide over. Oyama to third, Penny to second, Matt Hallback, the righty at the plate, to face the right-handed Rowland. The infield is in at double play depth, swing and a miss from Vitriton of UC San Diego. He goes behind 0-1.
What a big run, and now Rowland, who barely ever comes set on the mound, finally gets called for the balk. Hallback would love to put one in the outfield here.
Rowland finally set the 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. That breaking ball disappears into the dirt, and he falls behind even farther, 0-2.
Roland has a nasty splitter. Like you said, Ian, it just goes straight down. It's like a 12-6 curve, but he grips the ball, the index finger on the left, middle finger on the right, and lets it fly.
Second and third, one out, 4-2 Orleans, top 9. Roland takes a breath. The 0-2 pitch. Swing and a foul tip. Arndt can't glove it. Hallback gets another life. He's reached all 4 times tonight. Singles in the first, fourth, and eighth. Also got on with an error from Daniel Rivera at second in the 6th inning. Oyama on third. Penny, who made it a 4-2 game, on second. The infield in with Hallback behind 0-2. Roland towards the plate. Fastball high, ball 1. There's no better player you could turn to, really, than Cole Roland in this spot. But he's now given up 3 runs in the last 2 games, all of them unearned, as he's been inserted into jam after jam these past couple nights. The 1-2 offering. Chopped foul. And the count stays 1-2.
Roland, a 90-mile-per-hour fastball to go along with that splitter. That's right there at 76-77, but drops off the table. As a hitter, probably one of the more confusing guys to hit against. Really difficult.
Second and third, 1 out. A difficult spot for Hallback behind a ball and 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. Fouled away. Another really good at bat late in this game. Matt Hallback making Cole Roland, the new arm, work for everything. Came in for Matthew Boynton after Boynton allowed 2 base runners to reach on an error and a walk. Struck out Justin Rubin. Englert called for the bullpen and got the righty from Wake Forest. Second and third, 1 out, 4-2 Orleans, top 9. Rolling the 1-2. It's blooping its way towards right. Along the line, it drops. Foul. Just foul. Oyama's going to go back to third, Penny to second. 1-2, still the count to Hallback. Roland, the Massachusetts native from Duxbury, began his collegiate career here in the Northeast with the Dartmouth Big Green in the Ivy League. A sub-4 ERA in 2021. Pitched for Falmouth in the summer of 22. Transferred to the Demon Deacons and was fantastic in the spring as their closer. The 1-2. Fastball is launched, but way foul to left.
Hallback was looking for that one. Remember, Roland did pitch last night, gave up the walk-off to Jack Penny. Pitched 19 pitches last night. First time this season since college he's being used on a back-to-back basis.
A big get for Steve Englert's team in the middle of the season. A bullpen that has been very reliable for Harwich, but has given up 3 of the 4 runs scored in tonight's game, all in the last 2 innings. Second and third, the 1-2 pitch. Shot towards third, hopping up, making the play is Keister. A low throw to first, but it's snagged by Ethan Anderson. Anderson made an error earlier in this inning, which let Fenwick Trimble get on, but he bails out Keister there with a good scoop for out number 2.
Virginia, number 25,
so interesting because Keister, who had to look back Oyama to third base, then threw it, and it was low, like you said, a bounce that allowed Anderson to scoop it. His defense hasn't been too great over at first either in this little 2-game series. But the pressure of the runners on made Keister throw low. Lucky for Harwich that Anderson made the play.
Colin Tuft, who replaced Eddie Micheletti Jr. in the outfield. His first at bat of the night. Roland drops a pitch on the lower inside half of the plate for a strike, 0-1. Tuft spent his first 2 years at Virginia, collegiate teammates with Anderson. Transferring to Tulane in the spring. The righty to face the right-handed Roland with runners on second and third. The infield no longer playing in with a double play out of order. Roland taps his feet, deals the 0-1. Breaking ball in for another strike. Tuft falls behind 0-2.
Tuft and Roland, they met last night in the 9th inning, and Roland got the best of him, a strikeout.
Finished that game 1 for 3. Did Tuft from the plate. Oyama on third. He walked. Penny on second. Drove in a run with a single to make it 4-2. Roland the 0-2 pitch. And Penny, or rather Tuft, lasers it to left, but foul into the Harwich bullpen. And the count stays 1-2.
Good swing by Tuft. He saw the splitter all the way. Just Rowland come back with the fastball. This game can get out of hand if Tuft hits a single. And it's 6-2 Firebirds. 4-2, much more bearable.
Rowland shaking everything out on the mound. Per usual. Very giddy when he toes the rubber. No balls, 2 strikes. He lets it fly, and it's fouled away over the backstop. Still 0-2. Tuft battling despite falling behind an account to 2 strikes. Rowland has only allowed 2 earned runs and 9 total relief appearances this summer. The 2 big strikeouts last night, like you said, one of Oyama, who's on third, one of Tuft. He was now away from getting out of that frame. 2 runners on, 2 out. The 0-2 pitch. Drops in for strike 3 looking. Struck him out last night in the 9th. Strikes him out one more time in the 9th. Cole Rowland wins back-to-back battles against Colin Tuft. Orleans leaves 2 base runners stranded in scoring position. But Jack Penny, just like he did last night against Rowland, provides a big run-scoring single to add on to the lead for the Birds. They lead 4-2. We go to the bottom of the 9th with a playoff series in the balance, and Sean Matson on the mound. Jaden Winter from East Carolina does his job out of a bullpen. 2 scoreless innings to keep the game where it was. Orleans added on the runs. 2 in the 8th, 1 more in the top of this inning. Jack Penny an RBI single off Cole Rowland to make it 4-2 Orleans. Sean Matson, the Cape Cod Baseball League's reliever of the year, the right-handed pitcher from Harvard, trying to get the final 3 outs. He faces the heart of the order, Devin Obie. First pitch swinging. He fouls it away, 0-1. The right-handed Obie, a Cape League All-Star, and Harwich's team MVP, faces Sean Matson, a 0.00 ERA on the summer in just under 22 innings pitched. Breaking ball, in for a strike, 0-2. Swing and a miss from Obie. The Duke Blue Devil 0 for 3 today. He's on an 0 for 15 skid. The 0-2 pitch bounces in the dirt. Carpelati can't glove it. Ball 1. Obie still behind 1-2. Leading off for Harwich in the bottom of the 9th. Down 2 runs.
For Matson, it's so much better now that the Firebirds scored a run in the first.
Line drive, high into left field. Colin Tuft, the new left fielder, backs up, makes the catch. 1 away. Devin Obie retired for the 4th time today, this time on 4 pitches. Bases clear, 1 out, still 4-2 Orleans, bottom 9. 2 outs away from advancing to the East Division Championship.
As I was saying, Matson so much more calm now that the Firebirds scored a run in the top of the 9th. He has to deal with 4-2 the score rather than a 1-run game.
He also has to face another all-star, the catcher Bryant Arndt. The right-handed batter goes behind 0-1. Matson's fastball at 89 miles an hour gets him ahead in the count. He deals the 0-1 pitch and misses outside for ball 1. Another fastball even 1-1 to the UNC Wilmington Seahawk.
Matson hasn't thrown in 5 days in a game.
The 1-1 misses in the dirt. 2-1 check swing. Didn't go, according to the first base umpire Hinojosa. He gets ahead 2-1.
However, Matson did throw yesterday.
The 2-1 launched, foul to left, 2-2.
He warmed up to come into a game just in case if the Firebirds didn't walk it off and kept the game tied, he would have pitched the 10th inning. So he did warm up, got the arm loose, and now he's ready to go.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. He is certainly ready to go. Brian Arndt strikes out, second out of the inning. Sean Matson looks like the same dude in the postseason that he was in the regular season. And out away from sending Orleans to the East Division Championship, it's Elijah Lambros, the right fielder. First pitch to him, swung through and fouled away. It clanks off the backstop, 0-1. Firebirds trying to sweep the Mariners. Would play either YD or Brewster in the East Division Championship. The 0-1, breaking ball, popped up, shallow center field. Eddie King ranging towards his right. He makes the catch. Orleans wins 4-2. 2 down, 4 to go. For the first time in 6 years, the Firebirds back to the East Division Championship.
Another win, and it comes in come-from-behind fashion. And we started this series talking about Harwich leading after 6. When leading after 6 in the regular season, 16-6 their record. In these 2 games, they led after 6 in both, and they lost both. Make that 16-8. Firebirds are moving on. They won't play tomorrow, but they'll play on Monday night.
That's because Brewster, who won Game 1 in dominant fashion against Yarmouth Dennis yesterday, loses to YD at home from Stony Brook Field today. So those two are going to have to play Game 3 tomorrow to decide who Orleans plays in the East Division Championship. Pitching was at a premium in these 2 games, Dylan. Yesterday, a 2-1 walk-off win for Orleans. Today, a 4-2 walk-off win. Or not a walk-off win, just a win where you're walking off happy. We begin cooling down here on the Birds Broadcast Network. We knew Sean Matson was going to be sensational. He always is. He goes 1-2-3 with a strikeout in this 9th inning, but he doesn't get the ball in this spot if it wasn't for 6 frames of Ivan Romero and then 2 dominant 1-2-3 frames from Jaden Winter.
It all starts with the starting pitching again, Ian. Yesterday, it was all about Grayson Carter. 6 innings from him. Then you go to the bullpen. That was big in terms of getting Matthew Watson. Only 2 pitchers you used yesterday from the Firebirds. Now, today, they used 3, but Jaden Winter, oh man, came here just a few days ago. His 2nd outing for the Firebirds. And once again, he's great. 6 up, 6 down for Winter. Romero, you can't say enough about him. He was amazing. Sean Matson, awesome as always.
This offense was awesome when it needed to be over the last 2 days. Whether it was 2-run score with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th yesterday, or tonight, where Jack Penny, Eddie Micheletti Jr., and Eddie King Jr. get it done. In the late stages, Orleans was at its best, and Eddie Micheletti Jr. making his way over here to the broadcast booth to talk with you, Dylan.
Yes, the man with 2 RBIs on the day, Eddie Micheletti. Come sit down, the DH today, and you come up big. You start in the 1st inning to get the Birds on the board first. How big was that to start?
Oh, that was awesome. My approach was just ambush a fastball. He was throwing it in. Runners at 1st and 2nd. Got my bat headed through, line drive right up the middle. It felt great to get the energy going in the 1st inning.
Then the offense has a few rough innings. You come back in that 8th inning. The walk by Eddie King to start the inning. You get runners on, and then you come up big again. The line drive past the first baseman, Ethan Anderson.
Yeah, I was a little early on the fastball, just sat on the slider. He threw it, and I, got my bat head on it. And then, right after that, probably the biggest at bat of the game, Eddie King, fighting off a bunch of pitches, driving one deep to right field and getting the, go-ahead run. That was huge. Best at bat I've seen all summer.
Well, we talked about at-bats in this series. It was 9 pitches from Brandon Stallman yesterday, 9 pitches from Eddie King today. He almost sent that out of the ballpark.
He did. And like I said, that was the best at-bat I've seen all summer. It's just a testament to our energy and mentality that we're not giving up, and we want to win and move on. So just a great at-bats.
That was to take the lead. And then you had Jack Penny against his old friend, Cole Rowland. Little deja vu there. Same pitch, same spot into right field to get that insurance run. That must have been big as well for the pitching staff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the energy was going crazy. Guy's a great pitcher. Jack Penny's a great hitter. And, it's kind of deja vu, the same exact thing. And that was just awesome. Jack Penny's on fire right now, and I hope he stays like that.
Let's move on to the pitching. Once again, brilliant tonight. Ivan Romero, 6 gritty innings against this Harwich team on the road, and then Jaden Winter with 2 perfect. Move on to Sean Matson. How great has this pitching been this series?
Oh, my God. I mean, I heard the reputation of this team is, Skip brings in a lot of pitchers, and, man, the reputation did not fail. Our pitching is very, very elite. All of those guys did a fantastic job today. Just an all-around team win today.
Before I let you go, because I know you got to celebrate with the guys, you move on. You get the day off tomorrow because YD won, so they'll play Game 3 tomorrow. Next game will be Monday, most likely at home, but if YD wins, it'll be on the road. How are you attacking the off day and then the second round after a 2-0 sweep?
Yeah, we're going to, take it easy, get our swings in, get into the gym, maybe go watch the game, relax, and get ready to go Monday. This is a big series ahead of us, and we're ready to go.
Awesome. Eddie Micheletti, thank you so much for joining.
Thank
Cooling
you.
down. We'll see you on Monday for round number 2. Bring back Ian on the broadcast. Ian, Eddie Micheletti, we mentioned 2 at-bats that have changed this series. It started with Brandon Stallman in the 9th inning of last night's game, and then here in the 7th inning, or check that, at the 8th inning, Eddie King, 9-pitch at-bat, sac fly.
Yeah, these were not the kinds of at-bats we were seeing from Orleans early on in the summer, but that was to be expected, right? These guys had a month, maybe more off from their spring ball seasons, and they were getting adjusted to the wood bats, and they were trying to drive everything deep over the wall for home runs. But playing in a ballpark tonight that's unforgiving in terms of dimensions, and you understand that you have to grind out at bats, and singles and are going to have to do the trick. This team was really good when they needed to be. And, again, it's those at bats that won't go down as much in the stat sheet. I mean, what did Eddie King do with that at bat, right? He ends up driving in a sac fly. And then last night, what was it? A dunked-in single to left field from Brandon Stallman. These aren't necessarily game-changing plays on the box score, but when you look at it and you see how a game plays out and you see how a bullpen responds to it, they make the difference.
Pitching, so elite in this series. 3 runs given up by Orleans in 18 innings. Talk about the pitching. I mean, only 5 pitchers used as well. I think that must have been huge.
I think the biggest thing about the brilliance of his pitching staff is this was New Orleans Firebirds pitching staff that was the second best in the league this season and lost so many of its best arms. Whether it was Daniel Avidia, the ace, or Derek Clark, who then became the ace, and Jonathan Gonzalez hasn't pitched in a while. 3 all-star caliber players. Avidia would have been an all-star if he was around long enough. All of them gone. It didn't matter, right? Kelly Nicholson, the one thing that always remains consistent with him, outside of bringing in high-character individuals who want to be here and want to compete late in the postseason when some guys want to go home, the big thing about Coach Nicholson is he brings in great pitching. And you look at the guys who pitched tonight. Ivan Romero, who was with YD last summer, ended Orleans this season. Kelly Nicholson welcomes him in with open arms, and he is his Game 2 starter in the playoffs. And then Jaden Winter. I mean, where did you find this guy? The only crop dusters in the Cal Ripken League. Did not pitch a lot in college. Got it done here tonight. Sean Matson was Sean Matson. Last night, too, whether it was Grayson Carter striking everybody out or Matt Watson, again, another midseason addition who pitched 3 innings out of a bullpen and closed the game. Not a bad pitching performance sprinkled in there. And you get the day off, which is huge. Sunday, YD and Brewster are going to be going at it for Game 3. That's going to be a must-watch game. We'll see what happens. I think either of those teams can win, and it'll be fun to see Orleans plays on Monday.
They get the day off, the bullpen gets the rest, and probably everyone in the bullpen will be ready to go for Monday's Game 1, which will be at home if Brewster wins tomorrow. It will be at YD if they win tomorrow for Game 1. Monday, we'll get the time. Make sure to check out our social medias at Orleans Firebirds, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever you use. Maybe even MySpace. I don't even know if we have a MySpace. But the Firebirds win 4-2. No MySpace confirmed?
That's not confirmed, but people around me are saying we don't have one, so I'm going to assume we don't have one.
Okay, a lot of MySpace users still out there, so got to keep that on. But 4-2 in for the Firebirds tonight. Ian, before we go, we got to pay the bills.
Of course. Want to thank our pregame sponsor, Siemens Bank, and our postgame sponsor as well, Mazzio Construction. Mazzio Construction, LLC, worked hard to build a resume for itself. Let them put their knowledge, experience, and passion together to work for you. They're on time with schedule, honest about what they do, and make sure that all your needs are met. They're passionate. Give them a call. Let them introduce you to their work. Let's see how they can help you. That's Yo Construction LLC.
Final score, 4-2 Firebirds. They win it here on Saturday night from Harwich, 2-0 season sweep. Ian, one more thing before we go.
Well, of course, got to shout out everybody involved with the broadcast, whether it's me, you, Sammy Miller, Will Lundrigan, our producer, Jasper Oko, our graphics coordinator. Happy birthday to him. He's been such a trooper all summer long. Everybody here in the Birds Broadcast Network and everybody who may be listening, we appreciate it. We won't see you tomorrow, but we will see you Monday, where it's Orleans in the East Division Championship for the first time in 6 years against either the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox or the Brewster Whitecaps. Tune in tomorrow to see who wins Game 3. Tune in Monday here on the Birds Broadcast Network for more playoff baseball. We'll see you then. Have a good night.